Okay, everyone. Hopefully, everyone is doing well. Welcome back to Project Eggroll. Hopefully, you guys are doing well. Yes, and today we are actually doing a Friday and a Saturday stream. Hope you guys are having a good day so far. But yes, we are back, and wow. So I had to actually not I wasn't able to make it last week because of what's it called again? My wife and I had a baby shower. So Grae will actually be popping in a couple of minutes. So we're gonna wait for him before we actually kick things off. I believe he's still getting all set up. So on today's agenda, if y'all don't already know, we're actually gonna be talking about last week's episode of The Rings of Power. So that I believe that's episode 4. Episode 4 of House of the Dragon, right? I believe it's episode 4, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I believe it's episode 4 on House of the Dragon. And we actually are going to be talking about Andor, which is going to be pretty interesting. So we're going to be talking about Andor. A couple of other stuff that's been happening throughout the week, a bunch of like Twitch drama, which I'm probably not going to get into. But yeah, a bunch of stuff that's happening. We also have a couple of things from the ESG and some stuff from Viola Davis with the Woman King, which is pretty nuts. I actually am pretty interested in talking about that. I heard good news and good things about the Woman King, but I haven't seen it yet. But it's been getting a good amount of controversy, and we'll be going over that later today when Grae pops in. And then tomorrow we're gonna talk about what's it called again? We're probably gonna continue watching Andor. So we'll talk about episode 2. I only watched episode 1 so far. We'll be talking about that tomorrow. And we are also going to be talking about episode 5 of The Rings of Power, which actually aired a couple of days ago, I think yesterday. And what's it called? House of the Dragon, which aired this past Sunday. And so this is today's stream. It's mostly going to be a makeup stream, and we're going to talk about it. So we're going to be talking about it. I believe not this Saturday, but next Saturday, I believe we're going to have a guest with us. So we're going to be talking more about Andor. The guest that we're going to be having on is more of a nerd, or I guess more nerdy and more knowledgeable in terms of the Rings of Power, House of the Dragon, and Star Wars stuff, and all together. But yeah, so here's the thing: I wasn't able to commit myself into watching She-Hulk. I believe is just like, I believe they're at episode 6 now, and from what I've been hearing is like this past episode is like absolutely the worst. And hearing like folks on YouTube such as like Tyro Magnus and a couple of other folks from Neurotic or Geeks and Gamer saying episode 6 was just awful. And I don't think I'm going to waste my time on that. I like for me, there's a bunch of other stuff that I do still need to get going on my end. I do need to make a review on The Last of Us Part 1 that I just played for the first time. And I believe Grae is going to be making his review on The Last of Us Part 2. And I'm most likely not going to play The Last of Us Part 2. I don't. The thing is that I already know the story based off of the controversy that I had, I believe, last year. And was it last year or 2 years ago? No, I think it's 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago in 2020, in regards to what happened to Joel, what happened to Ellie, and then new character Abby. So I'm probably not going to be talking about it. We'll let Grae talk about it. I believe he might be finishing up the game already, so which is pretty interesting. I did actually, my wife and I actually did recently watch Nope, and it's okay. In all honesty, I don't think it's as good as I thought it was going to be, right? Because a lot of people hyped it up, saying that it was good. What's it called again? It was so good that Jordan Peele was hailed to be the next like John Carpenter, which is completely blasphemous. Like even he himself saying that you cannot compare me to him. But I enjoyed it. There was some parts of it that I thought it was sort of stupid, but overall, it was interesting. I like Get Out. Out of all three of his films, I like Get Out the most. I think Get Out was pretty great through and through. It kept me on my toes. Us was okay. I think the first half of Us was probably the best part of it, and then the remaining part, sort of when you find out who the, I guess, quote unquote bad guys are in that movie, it sort of became sort of like, it's not that interesting. You just sort of like just letting it play out. But this one is pretty fun. But yeah, what's it called again? Oh man, the thing is, I actually watched I haven't seen the most episode of the Rings of Power yet, but we will be talking about it tomorrow. However, I did see the promo, and I am not happy. So far of what I've seen. Still yet. That there's a couple of things I need to talk about. So once Grae gets in, we'll talk more about it. We'll go more in depth in terms of what characters are good, what characters surprisingly caught us off guard and stuff like that. Same thing with the Rings of Power. I'm looking forward to that. But please let me know if the audio is okay. If the audio is coming through, it should be okay, I believe. If it's not, please do let me know. But yeah. But yeah, Andor, I believe it just came out a couple days ago, and I believe all 3 episodes are out. We are halfway through. I think House of the Dragon. I believe episode 5 will be coming. I think episode 5 just finished, so it was this past Sunday. So this upcoming Sunday will be episode 6, and it's good. So far it's really good. Man, but for the Rings of Power, we are more than halfway. I believe we are at this episode, so we have like 3 more episodes. Yeah, 3 more episodes to go until that's completely finished. But woof. Big wolf. Audio is good. All right, cool. Thank you, Cat. Thank you. But or Cat Lau, But thank you. But yeah, so yeah, so the friend of ours the friend of mine that's gonna be popping in to be a guest. Hopefully he can make it. I know he has a pretty strict schedule in terms of his work, and he has a bunch of stuff on his end. So hopefully he can make it. And if he can, that'll be pretty cool. He has a lot of insight in terms of and a lot more knowledge. I'm not sure if he actually read the books, but if he did, that would definitely help for sure. But yeah. Anyways, hope you guys are doing well. Man, baby shower was actually went pretty well. The baby shower was pretty good. I had a lot of fun, so that is actually pretty cool. A lot of people didn't actually end up coming, which is actually me and my wife were actually considering it like actually a pretty nice, is because we actually had the time to actually talk to everyone, which is fantastic. So man, but it was fun. I'm glad everyone had fun. The prizes that we gave away were pretty good. There's a couple of people that we haven't seen in quite a long time. I believe we haven't seen a couple of our friends like Vicky and Kat, one of our other friends named Kat, for probably, man, I haven't seen him since like 4 years ago. Yeah, I would say 4 years, which is quite some time. It's actually good to catch up with them. It's sort of like we haven't really missed the beat. But yeah. But man, I do want to. there's actually a couple of clips I do want to show the stream, show the chat. But yeah, we have some Little Mermaid news that we're gonna go over with Haley Bailey. We're gonna go over some stuff with Rachel Zegler, which is who's gonna be playing Snow White. I'm not sure how that's gonna be. I'm completely over any of the live action adaptations that Disney has done. I'm completely done and over it. I don't really care. I have no interest to watch any of the stuff they're producing in terms of live action. But a lot of people are actually taking onto the internet and asking, hey, you guys didn't have an issue when what was her name? Brandy played Cinderella. What was the reason now? It's because that was I think her name is Brandy. I believe she's like a hip hop singer. or and that became like that became an actor. But the thing is that it was a complete different take on Cinderella. It's not like we were, like I don't think we had an issue with that. I just think that people were having a different take on this. Yeah, there's a new Snow White remake. Yes, there is. There's actually a new Snow White remake. Let me actually the crazy thing that Rachel Zegler sort of looks like which is cool. Rachel Zegler actually looks like Snow White. Like side by like comparison, like her face is like wide, like her face wise actually looks like her skin tone could be more pale, but what's it called again? She actually does sort of look like her. It's yeah, like the only thing I actually really wanted was like if she was a little more pale. I'll actually show it in what's it called again? Here, check it out right here. Right? Okay. Boom. There it is. Right? Right? She actually looks like her sort of the distance of her eyes to her lips, like the ratio of her face is like it actually looks like her, which is actually pretty neat. Let me see, I think like that. No, like probably like that. Yeah. Yeah. So the crazy thing is that so for y'all in the chat, what was the evil queen's intent? Why did the evil queen originally wanted to kill Snow White? Right? What's the original reason? Right? It's because she said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?" Means the fairest as the most beautiful. Right? The most beautiful, the most good looking. Right? Like who is the most fairest of them all? Sorry. Right. That was the original. That was the original intent of Snow White. Right. Like so, the actor that they got to play, actor that they're getting to play Evil Queen is go away. Hey, okay, there. Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot is actually going to be the Evil Queen. Snow White's pale, can't be seen from Chinese Korean actresses. Yeah, can't only be seen. So the thing is that like they wanted someone who like the face wise, yeah, it looks like her, right? But the fact that you have Gal Gadot who's going to be playing the Evil Queen, like what? It's like she's gonna be mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all? And then she's gonna be like, me. There's no one more beautiful than I. Look, maybe I don't know. Maybe the reason why that they're actually having her play, maybe she's too old or young looking. But yo, here he is.
Yo, hi.
Oh, hey.
Hello.
Oh, man.
Yo, how have you been?
Good. How are you? We're just talking about Snow White.
Oh, okay. What's happening with Snow White?
Okay. So, I'm going to share my screen again. So I guess people are complaining. I for one, I don't really care. But let me actually share the screen. So Rachel Zegler is actually going to be the new Snow White. Like for me, like it actually, like in terms of her face, it actually looks like her. But I think she needs to be more pale because Snow White, her face is supposed to be pretty fair, pretty light skinned. But the crazy thing is that Gal Gadot is playing the Evil Queen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, interesting choice.
so sort of like so it's sort of weird. You're like, wait, so is but okay, in my opinion, okay, you can like whoever you want, but I think Gal Gadot, she's I think in terms of comparison, I think Gal Gadot is more attractive, right? But the thing is that we're trying to see how Gal Gadot is going to, maybe her her skin is actually she's actually really old, and she needs like this potion to make her look young or something like that. But it's just like if
Yeah.
that's not the case and you're actually following the actual story from Snow White, then and Gal Gadot is playing the evil queen, I'm just like you can't really compare. But yeah, man, how are you doing?
Yeah. I'm good. I'm good.
All right. So did you get to watch did you get to watch Andor?
Yeah, the first episode, just right on time.
Okay. All right. So I know that was like sort of like a last minute thing, but since that's still fresh on your mind right now, what do you think about the show?
Yeah, I actually came in without having any idea about it. I think I watched a Geeks and Gamers video about, but it kind of slipped my mind because YouTube videos there's so many, so one comes in, the other goes out. I'm pretty surprised how kind of adult themed it is, and I like that it's based on one of the Star Wars movies from Disney that I actually like, which is Rogue One. So yeah, it's the main character is apparently Cassian.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's looking for his sister. I don't remember the events of Rogue One. It's been a while, but I remember I really liked the movie. I really liked Rogue One. But right now he is searching for his sister, and he has something to sell. Apparently, he was able to smuggle or steal something. I'm not sure if I missed that part, but he's trying to sell the Star Path unit to Bix. Apparently, his best friend. I don't know. He's probably childhood friend. I think she's the girl in the flashback. The girl. I'm not sure if that's his sister or if it's Bix.
I think that's the sister. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's the sister.
It's a sister. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's actually pretty significantly shorter than House of the Dragon and Rings of Power. So around 30 minutes. So not a lot of stuff happens. Mostly about Cassian going around. Okay, don't tell anyone this happened. Don't tell anyone this happened. Or make up this story. Make up this. It's mostly full of that. Well, I also like the part where he ends in the beginning. Because the two guards were harassing him. The two pre-more security team. They were harassing him. It's like, okay, oh shoot. I accidentally killed one of them, so I'm gonna have to kill this other one to cover my tracks. And then Pre-more tries to do an investigation, but like, yeah, it's like the intricacies of security life too. Like the investigator's boss was like, let's just sweep it under the rug. These two guys weren't supposed to be where they were supposed to be. So, but the investigator being the what's the proper term? By the book. He's so by the book that he doesn't want to let it go. We need to check on this. These two people these two employees were murdered. So there's probably going to be some tension there in the succeeding episodes. I imagine for sure he's going to get backlash for that. Yeah, overall I'm really liking Andor. Good pick actually. good. I actually saw it on YouTube, but I was like, okay, probably just another woke Star Wars film, but it's so far it's pretty good. Disney finally got it right this time. Like more of this content, no woke stuff. More actually, I kind of really appreciate the adult themed Star Wars because usually it's like it's more catered towards a younger audience. They shove in some funny jokes here and there, but this time they're really focused on the dark, gritty side of the Star Wars universe. That's overall just what I think.
Yeah, like I believe it starts off with like for me, like I think like like me and my wife were watching it and it immediately reminded us of Altered Carbon. It has that very adult theme, and it's what's it called again? It's very like it's very gritty, and like the first thing like you see him, it's like it's raining and you see a guy in like a hood and he walks down and you see like this like bubble container or a glass container, and there's like a person in there, but I'm like, it looks like a female's hand. I'm like, is that like a stripper? So when they walk into when Cassian walks into the for me I thought it was a bar. I was like, oh, it's my wife was like, is he at a strip club or something? And
yeah,
then
that's what I thought too.
I was like, we're both like, no, it's Disney. They're not gonna do that, right? It's probably maybe like a hostess or something. And then sort of the next scene was just like, oh, you were in a brothel, and it was like, oh, so it's like a whorehouse. So it's just it's a very adult theme. And then like the first thing was like, like he was being detained or something like that, and then he ends up like grabbing the gun and killing that guy. And we're just like, whoa, this has gone a lot darker than we thought it would.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, I actually do appreciate that sort of tone. It's and the thing is that we already know what happens to this character, but like some people were like, I want to know more about this character, right? Like so it's right now, like it's just him, going from place to place. He's like, where's my sister? I gotta find my sister. And I think it's like a flashback of like their relationship towards one another. And like for me, I thought it was it was okay. Like right for me, like it's definitely interesting. It actually, to be honest with you, it actually kept my attention more than the episode of Rings of Power.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
So it was actually like, okay, like we unfortunately we all know he dies. So we're just like, okay, cool. What other than the fact that you have like the ships and like the blasters and stuff like that, this felt very like you can tell me like, oh, this is actually like another season of what's it called again? Altered Carbon. Like if I had no idea who Cassian was, and you're like, oh, this, and you didn't show me the blasters or anything, it's like, oh, this is another season of Altered Carbon. And I'm just like, oh yeah, it makes sense. I just don't see enough nudity. But other than that, it feels very dark. It feels very very gritty, which is actually a breath of fresh air, which is something that we as fans have been like looking forward to. Is because like for me, I didn't watch the last, what's it called, the rise of Skywalker or something like that, right? Like the is that what it's called, right?
Yeah.
I didn't watch that. The last Star Wars movie I watched was The Last Jedi, and then I watched the first season, I think the first and second season of The Mandalorian. I did not watch Boba Fett or anything like that. So this definitely feels like you're sort of bringing things back, and this is this is right before Rogue One. So this is after the prequel. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more characters, more development in terms of Cassian, and but yeah, it actually kept my attention.
Yeah, looking forward to watching the other two episodes. I'll probably watch them later.
Yeah, like for me, I'm mostly gonna be watching. Yeah, definitely gonna be watching it later. Maybe we can talk about it tomorrow. Maybe we can just watch one. But if you want, we can watch both of them, because if they're only gonna be half an hour long, it's actually really short. So that wouldn't be an issue at all. But yeah, I'm glad you liked it, man. Like for me, I'm like, oh no, I'm not sure. I wasn't sure if you're like a Star Wars fan or anything like that. But are you a Star Wars fan?
Yeah. Same thing with the other series. I'm kind of a normie guy, but I appreciate a lot of stuff actually. Like a lot of games, a lot of TV series. Yeah. So I'm generally fine. Just that I came in blind, so I had no idea what I was expecting. Then I searched Cassian Andor. His surname is Andor. That's why it's called Andor. Okay.
Yeah. That's cool, man. That's cool. All right. So with that out of the way, yeah, like for me, it's very short. There's not much to talk about. But with that out of the way, we're gonna segue to last week's Rings of Power. So have you watched yesterday's episode yet?
Yep.
Okay. I did. So I haven't. I've only seen. I've only seen like what's it called again? The trailer. The preview of last week's. But I sort of already know, just based off of what I saw, what's gonna happen. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. But let's talk about last week.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you got it right already.
Yeah. So I believe last week's episode there wasn't any Harfoots. I believe it was all just Galadriel and Elendil, Isildur, and Elrond and Durin and what's it called again? And Disa, right? Am I correct?
Yeah. No Harfoots for sure.
Okay, yeah, and I believe the Harfoots are supposed to be coming in this episode that just aired recently, but okay. First and foremost, I fell asleep the first time watching. I had to watch it twice. I was really trying to stay awake. I'm like, and I remember exactly where I fell asleep the first time watching it. So I'm not sure exactly where the episode starts, but I remember it starts off with um what's it called in Galadriel. From what I can remember, Galadriel is trying to talk to Muriel, right? And
Yeah, okay. If you want the exact start, it starts off with Queen Muriel
mhm.
blessing the children. It's kind of like a
Oh yeah.
baptism of sorts. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. She's like blessing. She had a nightmare, right? She had a
Yes,
nightmare,
yes.
and the what's it called again? The destruction of what's it called again? The Numenorians, which is what actually comes to term, I believe, because she's having these visions because she's touching the crystal ball thing. I forgot. Palentil. So
Palantir, yeah.
yeah,
Palantir.
Palantir. Yeah. So and then what's it called? And she wakes up. She's like, right. She gets a nightmare, and then what happened? And, and I'm okay. That's one big thing that I remember. Okay, the destruction of Numenor, and then Galadriel talks to her. She was like, "I want to talk to the manager again." He's like, "I am the manager." He's like, "You're not the manager. I want to talk to your manager. I want to talk to your boss." And then basically, um, during my second my second watch, it sort of showed a symbolic kind of thing, like a symbolism, like where she's talking is like, okay, Sauron's back, we need to send some people to the south, and the islands and stuff like that, the southlands, and because the orcs and Sauron and bad stuff's gonna happen. And then she was like, no, no, like your audience with me is over, and just stop that, right?
Yeah.
And it's just it continued. It continued, and then she sort of like walks she walks down from the steps, and you can tell like the way that Galadriel is treating her is like, I'm better than you, like, because
Mhm.
she's above her, right? She's like looking down on her. And then he's like, "Oh yeah, like you're not the true ruler. Your father is the true ruler. I want to talk to him because like you're not the ruler. You're and in terms like, I'm not going to listen to anything you say." And then he
Yeah.
immediately throws her ass in jail.
The funniest part about that scene is what she said last. There's a tempest inside me, which is kind of stupid and ridiculous.
Mhm.
It was being what do you call this? It was being criticized so hard because they were trying to angle it to be poetically creative, but it comes out so, I don't know, it comes out being again a Karen, because
Mhm.
it's like there's a tempest inside me. So it's like, it's, I don't know, it sets off being corny,
Mhm.
for in my opinion, corny and a bit exaggerated.
Mhm.
Then yeah, when the moment she mentioned her father, that's when she ends up being locked up.
Mhm.
Then I also there was also a scene prior to Galadriel talking to Muriel. It
Was it
was about
oh yeah, go ahead.
it was about the the peasants, the one that tried to gang up on Halbrand the episode prior. So
Oh, okay.
he was like making, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, yeah.
He was making a ruckus in town about like, the elves are taking our jobs. The elves are
They
taking our
took our jobs.
jobs. It was just Galadriel, dude. Chill. Then for some reason they created this problem that isn't really there.
Mhm.
It was supposedly the chancellor's comes in like, oh, I won't let that happen. It's gonna be fine. Numenor is for men, not for elves. Then for some reason he's able to arrange people carrying wine all of a sudden to serve the entire people. Yeah, it feels like it's kind of all over the place. It feels like it's kind of a filler scene.
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt so unnecessary because there's really a job problem because the elves are apparently taking over Numenor, which is
Yeah,
really not
you
the
have like
case.
one elf. Yeah, exactly. She's a total Karen there. Yeah, it's just yeah. It's what's it called again? Yeah, like this scene. I think all it basically highlights is like, him trying to like calm down the masses, right? Like calm down, here's some wine, relax, and yeah, it's just like they came and they took your germs. It's just sort of like South Park, but it's just yeah. I thought the scene was sort of like like you said, filler. Like you see what Elendil's daughter, right? And it's just like, okay, cool. You meet, you get to know her name, and then she bumps into that one dude, and it's just I don't know. Like I was trying my hardest not to fall asleep in this episode the second time, right? Because second time I was also falling asleep, and
Dang.
like it was pretty bad, and like and then that scene with what's it called again? What's it called? Adar and
Oh yeah, yeah. I have a lot. I have a lot to say about. Let's go. Go ahead. Go ahead. You go first.
Oh, okay. So, okay, you have like the dude that's like in charge of all like the albino orcs, and then he's like, yeah, I'm gonna come, and then like I'm gonna put you out of your misery. And then I look at him, he's like, okay, he looks like a half elf, half orc, like I don't know, he looks like an elf that's sort of been like sort of mutated or something, like, because he has the pointy ears and he speaks to Erendir in like the elf language, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, you don't, they're lying, they are lying to you. You don't know the true like message and stuff like that. And I'm gonna set you free, and I want you to tell them a message, and then okay, at the same time, I'm gonna give you back all your weapons and all your stuff, and go do whatever you want. Like that has I'm not sure what he's trying to do, but according to what I heard, and this is gonna be a major spoiler.
I'm fine, honestly. I'm
okay.
Warning to chat.
Okay, so chat, this is gonna be a major spoiler. So according to what I heard, I'm not sure if this is true. Rumor has it is that the white orcs, as you can tell in this episode that we just watched, remember when Theo goes back and it's like, oh, we don't have enough food, oh, I'm gonna get some rice, and then he goes and then like he grabs the bag of rice, and then he gets ambushed by a single orc, and then he brings out the hilt, and then he's like and then he powers up, right? And then he's like, give it to me, give that here. So according to what that is, that hilt is a key.
Oh, that was actually revealed in the next episode.
Right. So
it is.
Okay, it's revealed in the episode, but
yeah.
So that is a key to a mountain.
Yeah.
Mount Doom, and
really? What? Okay, that wasn't revealed.
It's supposed to. I guess it's supposed to open up a door in Mount Doom, like in the mountain.
Okay.
So Sauron can make his ring there. I'm not sure if that's true.
Oh god. Okay. That makes it all the more. I can tell you about it in what happens in the next episode.
Mm-hmm.
It'll make your theory all the more stranger, and for me, terrible writing.
Okay.
You want me to tell you?
I'm going to watch it probably like tomorrow or like after our stream. But go ahead.
Yeah, so you're correct. So in the next episode, Theo finally shows it to Arendir. He shows it like, there's something I need to show you. He shows him the hilt of the sword. There's like Arendir shows it to Bronwyn. I'm not sure which came first, but wait, no, sorry. So Arendir says, I know this hilt. It's like it's a key, that because they're already in the watchtower by then, right? They returned to the watchtower.
Yeah.
He just removes a couple of bushes, and there's a statue with the same symbol. So it's coincidentally in the watchtower too.
Oh.
Then you're saying that it's the watchtower is actually Mount Doom.
Oh man! If that's the case, that's so dumb.
Yeah,
right? Okay.
Exactly.
So, what's it called again? so because we're supposed to, this is the second age, right? According to what I know, this is supposed to be the second age of men. And I mean, it's just the second age, but it's supposed to be following what Elendil, Isildur, Celebrimborn, and God, who's the elf king? That's gonna drive me nuts. Elf king.
I think Gilgalad.
Gilgalad. Yeah, it's supposed to follow all four of those characters, and those is basically sets up that all four of them are basically gonna be like they're gonna be building up an army or something like that. But and the thing is that this Celeborn. So Celeborn is supposed to be Galadriel's husband, and he's nowhere to be seen right now. Nowhere to be seen. And it's just like, okay, sure. So what happens then, right? No, where does he come in? And I don't know. Like it also looks like that Celebrimborn looks like he's like has the hots for Elrond, and Elrond has the hots for freaking Durin. Like the thing is that Elrond has a daughter, so we're not sure what's there. Are they changing up the lore? But yeah, it's but going back to the whole scene with what's it called again, with Erendir, and he's talking to Adar, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna let you go." Like it's like, what? Why? Like you you say you had some words for her. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, it's like I had my expectations for this Adar character was really high, because for one, you named episode 3 after him, but all you did in that episode was like Adar, it's Adar. But then in this next episode, okay, so now show me who Adar is. And the first thing you show me is like he's like crying for a dying orc, and then Mercy kills him. Then all he does is tell Arondir like, "Oh yeah, I used to be an elf. I know where you used to live. Now yeah, they've been lying to you. Now go to the watchtower and tell them how much of a badass I am." That's all I got. That's all I got from that. That's like, you named an episode after this character, and that's how you introduce him to the series. Like, I don't know. It's like, yeah, it's like you hype this character up so much, but you could have at least started off with a banger. Like, why is this character so dangerous? Why is this character so fearsome? But no, it really did not stick the landing for me. So, which is why that's why I said like I had a lot of bad stuff to say about this character. But maybe in the last 3 episodes he'll do something that'll make itself worthwhile. But even in the next episode, he doesn't really do much. He doesn't really do a lot of stuff.
The crazy thing is that we are more than halfway through the first season already. And it's supposed to be what, $500 million per season, and I still despise Galadriel. Like, and it's like you took 4 hours of my life already, and I'm still bored. And like, and you can only make something look so pretty enough, but like the characters are not interesting. However, the only scene that I found episode 4 to be interesting was the final exchange between Elrond and Durin after he goes inside and he's like, "Oh, you know, where is what's it called again? Where's Durin?" And you know, Disa is like, you know, lying to him and stuff like that. He finds out that like they're like digging for a mithril, and it's just like we all know what's it called again, that what the fissures were, right? Like we know that I remember rewatching Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. I remember this what's it called again? What's it called? They, I guess the path was completely blocked by Saruman, and then they were like, okay, we got to go to the ice mountains now, and then what's it called again? Saruman and him were like sort of battling in the mountains, sort of like us, like sort of like singing, and then like the mountains came down, and then you hear Gimli's like, "We must go to the mountains of Moria," right? So then they're like, "All right, we'll let Frodo decide," and he's like, "We'll go to the mines," and then you hear Saruman is like, "We all know why you don't want to go into the mines, is because the mines of Khazad-dûm, right? That's where they are right now, right?
Yes.
So the mines of Khazad-dûm is basically the mines that that Durin is in right now, and they said that your fellow ancestor dwarves dug too deep and they awoken something, and we all know that that's the Balrog.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming. I think all those fissures that you hear currently right now in the show, it's because of they're not supposed to awaken something because it's trying to get the mithril, right? And I want to see more of that. Maybe that shows in the next episode that I haven't seen yet. Maybe the following one. But there actually was one nice part of the show that I'm like, this is actually nice. Was the part after he Disa thanks Elrond, saying that, oh, if you didn't come and discover our secret, Durin could have died. And I think him and Durin and Elrond sort of had this like just back and forth, like, and it's sort of like very, it's like very wholesome. It's a very like wholesome moment between those two, and that's the only part where I felt like that's some good character building. But that's it. And then after that, it just goes back to Galadriel with her stupid thing, like freaking taking down like 5 like Numenorian knights by herself, like off screen.
The best part.
I hated that. I hate that so much.
Yeah. There's a reason why they cut the scene when the process was happening, because they just ran to the cell. I'm sure of it. They just ran to the cell. Because the scene after that, where Galadriel was already closing the door.
Yeah, and she gives him that look. It's like, haha, I'm better than you.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, even going back to the Elrond part where he discovers the mine, I actually didn't realize it. It was Az from Heels versus Babyface who pointed it out. The reason how Elrond found out about the passage, somehow he knew, like he was knocking on the earth, right? Then the passage suddenly opened. It was because of the children, Disa and Durin,
right?
Yeah, they were singing it. That's how he found out, apparently.
That's lazy writing.
Exactly.
And you were singing a song, right? And then and then he tapped on the wall and he sort of recited what the kids were singing. Was it? Was that it?
Yes. Oh, that's it. I was like, oh, so that's how he knew. I was like, wow, okay. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Same thing with Disa trying to conceal Durin's tracks to Elrond, right? At first, like, she was making all sorts of excuses, like, I'm sending him dinner because of this and that. But apparently it's so secret that the two of them talk right outside the bridge where Elrond can hear it.
And of course he has like his elf ears.
Like, can hear it. I don't know. It's so weird.
Man, but so you have that, and then so I think the whole Palantir thing, and then he's like, she escapes so easily from the cell. She leaves, and then she makes her way. She's like, I have to go see the manager right now, right? She runs up, and then the manager is dying, and it's like, I'm gonna show you, like Palantir, and then the best scene comes is when she actually touches the ball, and then she gets destroyed by the waves. That's actually really good. But yeah, man, it's it was so weird, and then it's like, okay, tomorrow we're gonna send you on the ship. Get out of here and stuff like that. No. So Catlu says, I'm only interested in the dwarf story. I think the dwarf story actually feels most Tolkien. Like, it actually feels like a little bit like Tolkien.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And
sure.
It's like it's actually nice, and especially you have like the like the music, like bum 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 bum. Like it sounds very like, oh, it sort of reminds me of like The Hobbit, right? And Elrond and Durin are the most interesting characters and relationships to me. I like the wife. Yeah. Disa is actually a very likable character, which is actually pretty nice. And but going back to Galadriel, like the next morning, like everyone, the whole city is literally gathered out in the front next to the docks, watching her depart. Right? Mm-hmm. She's like, I'm I'm gonna go onto this boat, and then and I think like Galadriel. I think elves are. I'm not sure how tall they're supposed to be. I know that Elendil is supposed to be like 7 foot tall, but he's not because he's like a
Oh,
Dunedain. Yeah, like I guess he's
okay.
like a. So he's supposed to be super tall. But it's funny is because once like Galadriel gets onto the boat, like she's the same height as all the other guys, and they're all sitting down, and they're just like rowing her off. Is like all right, and she rows all the way, and then I believe Queen Muriel and like the other people will start walking, and then you see the white leaves start falling, right? And she turns around, and and then she finally has an epiphany. It's like, oh no,
I was wrong.
I was wrong all along, right? And then she looks out, and like Galadriel is way the hell out there already, and it cuts to the next scene, and she's like, all right, we're gonna send them off to the Southlands in Middle Earth, and then all of a sudden she just fucking returns out of nowhere. Like, did you not go call her? Hey, come back!
Yeah, they skipped some stuff. It's the same thing with the next episode. I mean, it's even more baffling in the next episode. It's the stuff that happens in the next. I'll let you watch it first, but a lot of ridiculous stuff happens in the next episode too. But yeah, they did some similar cuts, and yeah, they kind of try to glorify Galadriel again, especially in the ending of the episode 5. Yeah, it's kind of strange.
Like the craziest thing is that so the only thing that I saw was it looks like Galadriel was training the Numenorians how to fight, and you have one of the most badass Numenorians there. You have Elendil. He's like right there. Why isn't he teaching them how to fight? Why is she teaching them? And that's the thing I don't get, right? If Galadriel was supposed to be, like, I don't know, Xena the warrior princess kind of like character, right? She's supposed to be like a badass. Then why didn't we see her in the fight in the original Lord of the Rings, where was it called again? Where like Gilgalad and like Elendil
exactly.
and Isildur, right? But the thing is that what the writers are trying to say, according to what I know, is like, hey, it didn't not say that she was there, right? Like just because it wasn't written that she wasn't there doesn't mean that she wasn't. It's and that's just stupid. That's just mind-numbingly dumb. Like how stupid that is. Like, hey, the book did not say that she wasn't a warrior, so we're just gonna make her a warrior, which is so stupid. Man. It's so poor. It's so annoying how I don't know. Like, yes, like she has a good voice for for her elf and stuff like that, for being an elf character. I think the character, I don't know, it just something's wrong with her face that makes me not like her.
It's her face. It's like it's just the only time it ever changed up to this point is when she was riding that horse. That's the only time it changed. That's the only time it changed. It legitimately changed. Everything it stays the same. It stays the same the entire time. That's why people do not like her. That's why people cannot relate with her, apart from the writing, of course. But her facial expression that doesn't change adds to it considerably, in my opinion.
And the craziest thing is, I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but maybe they wanted us not to like her, and then she turns a new leaf. Maybe because, I don't know, she falls in love with Halbrand or something like that, right? She falls in love with Sauron, not Sauron, and then like he humanizes her, and then sort of like makes her put her guard down, and maybe, I don't know, they sleep together or something like that, and then she finds out that, and he sort of humanizes her to make her more likable. But the thing is that we're already coming upon episode 5 was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And we're already more than halfway through the show, and if it takes me that long to like your leading character, your main character, that's way too long. Look, how long did it take for us to sort of like, quote unquote, fall in love with what's it called, Frodo Baggins? Literally the first scene you see him in. Like,
yeah,
he's sort of like,
exactly.
It's like, a wizard is never late, right? And then literally right there, you're like, I like this character. Right. And for her, just like, I still don't like you. Like,
yes.
I don't care what your mission is oh, I need to go avenge my brother and save the world from Sauron. I'm like, okay, but I still don't like you. You're it's just, I think it's just really, really bad writing. Right. I don't think it's the actress's fault. I think she's just following directions, reading the
Yeah,
script,
yeah,
right? It's the
sure.
writers and the directors that are sort of ruining this character that we once revered as a, as like a god. You know,
Hmm.
like whenever we see Galadriel in any of the Peter Jackson movies, we always revere her as someone who is someone to look up to, someone who can espouse wisdom. And looking at her here, it's like, oh, she's not there yet. I'm like, no, she's not, of course. But the thing is, this is just these are two completely different characters.
Hmm.
It's just
Yeah,
it,
yeah. It.
it's bad.
I don't think the next episode will change your mind. To be honest, it's still there. It's still there, especially in the finale. Like, they showcase her in a different light, but it's still kind of ridiculous. It's still kind of it still didn't stick to Lanny. She's still a
Mhm,
Karen for one, especially
mhm.
to Halbrand. She does some stuff to Halbrand at first. Well, there's some semblance of a little bit of repentance. Like she says sorry. She actually says sorry to Halbrand for once
Mhm.
in the next episode. But before that, she does something kind of she kind of does some gaslighting. Then just to give you a heads up,
No, man,
like
please.
she makes it seem like it's Halbrand who's taking advantage of her, stuff like that. Just to give you an idea what happens in the next episode. So yeah, it's really hard to actually like her because I don't know. It's like Amazon paid so much money for this IP. Like they paid
Mhm,
so much money. I mean, they should have paid if they're willing to pay that much money to acquire Lord of the Rings to make a TV series out of it. I mean, they could have easily just respected the fan base. That's all they needed to do. Just
mhm.
get some ideas from the fan base, get people who actually want to enrich the Lord of the Rings experience, or tell stories that are just in the book, just
Mhm.
that put it into movie form. It could have been an easy home run for them, which is kind of a shame because like, yeah, they decided to go for the identity politics and all that. So yeah, this is where we're at today. Yeah, I honestly I doubt Galadriel will be having a change of character in the season. Honest,
Mhm.
given where it's going, if there's gonna be character growth, I hopefully the second season, but I don't see it happening in season one since we're already more than halfway. We only have what, like 3 episodes left? Is
Yeah.
3 episodes enough for her to have a change of character? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I for one feel that this okay. According to what I heard, there's supposed to be 5 seasons, and
Mhm.
so if you think about it, that's what $2.5 billion that they're going to be using on the show. If every show is $500 million, and like like I said, it's not the actors and actresses' fault. I think like for me, Erendir, they could I think they could written him a little bit better, like give him more emotions because all he is just very stoic. He's very like stoic and very like stern looking, and he does not look
Yeah.
happy. And same Galadriel just looks like she thinks she's better than you.
Mhm.
I would say probably Durin and like and what's it called again? Elrond's story is probably a little bit more interesting. I don't really care too much about the Harfoots. Like we all know,
Yeah.
the stranger, quote unquote stranger, is Gandalf, and like I I'm pretty sure that we're gonna see more of that. And man, it's not looking good.
Yeah.
It's sort of like and I heard that in terms of show ratings, like this is like from like so I watched like Jeremy from the Quartering, and he's saying that like he actually did a bunch of like videos saying how like Amazon is trying to make this look like it's a very, very good show, and
Mhm.
hopefully because they're basically putting like all their money on the show and it has to do well. But if it has a bunch of 1 stars because people aren't liking it, like how is that going to look towards like investors and stuff? So I guess he's been sort of showing like side by side footage, or like screenshots from the reviews, and it's just they're like, okay, it's like 4.3, 4.5 stars out of 5. And then he's like, wait, where are all the 1 stars? You know, like there, if you said that 25 million people watched the first episode, there has to be, you know, at least that, at least maybe 10% of that. And it doesn't even have at least 10% of that reviews inside the Amazon.com. So I guess they got caught and they called them out, and then I guess the review their score dropped from 4.3 or 4.5 to like 3.8 or 3.6. So it's just like, and it's pretty bad, you know, like it's, if like they don't want this to be like a Cowboy Bebop where just like you disrespected the fans, you ruined you had source material, even though given that you only have like maybe a couple pages of source material, you didn't have to shit on the characters, right? And you know, you can add in new characters, go for it, but the thing is that you, like, I don't think it's the races of the characters that are the problem. You know, like, oh, there aren't supposed to be black dwarves, there aren't supposed to be black elves. You know, I think people are over that. You know, like it's like, okay, fine, tell us a good story, entertain us, but you know, like every episode, I'm usually just sitting there like this. You know, like I'm just sitting there like that. I'm not taking any notes. And the fact that I was actually upset. I told my wife, I said, God, I don't want to watch that show again. And she's like, you have to finish it. You know? And she was like, do you want to start halfway? It's like, no, fuck it. Just watch the whole entire thing. And halfway through, I was falling asleep again. She said, you got to wake up. Man. So, okay. Without giving away too much, so you said that this episode 5 is not, is it even better, or did it make you like the characters a little bit more? Did it reveal more story that's like, oh, that's actually pretty interesting? Or is it still sort of like, oh, it's sort of boring?
Yeah, I actually episode 5, the way they started episode 5, it starts with the Harfoots, to give you a heads up. It's like, what happens in that scene? They wasted so much precious time on that scene. It's like, it made me hate them even more. It made me hate the Harfoots even more because of how ridiculous it was. It's like, it's something that I wouldn't have expected. Like, it feels like such a shoehorned scene. They spent like, what, 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes. Yeah, you'll know which scene I'm pertaining to when you see it. It's such a time waster. It's an extreme time waster. Then yeah, so yeah, the Harfoots. It kind of moved the story a little bit. So yeah, it kind of sort of validates us that it's actually Gandalf. The mysterious guy is actually Gandalf. But it didn't really move much. But there was this particular scene in the near the start. Like, they wasted so much time that could have been spent on fleshing them out more or building the relationship. But I don't know why I was so baffled why they put that scene in. We'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll talk about it tomorrow. But when you see it, it's like, it's so ridiculous. Like, why? Why did you put the scene in? But yeah, anyway, so yeah. Also, I want to about Arondir. It's like, yeah, you mentioned that he was kind of stoic, kind of a stern-like character. They also kind of try to like bring him up because like he's one of the characters who's supposed to like combat the identity politics thing. So they're kind of bringing him up too in ways that I do not like. Like, do you remember that scene when he rescued Theo and they were running apparently from the orcs, even though the orcs are not supposed to attack him because he's supposed to send a message? I don't know. I don't know if elves are really that OP in the books, but I don't buy it that he gets to catch an arrow while it's getting to Theo. I don't buy it.
I hated that. It was sort of like he's like slow motion, catch the arrow,
then shoots it back. It's like
stupid.
Yeah, it's like, what are the elves? I know the elves are they have a lot of wisdom, they have a lot of knowledge, and yeah, they're pretty much strong. But to catch an arrow mid-flight, it's kind of a hard sell for me. Not to mention, that scene was also terrible writing because like all of a sudden Bronwyn comes to the picture. How did she know they were there? and what is she gonna do even though she's there, right? Because she doesn't know how to fight. Anyway, yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. Let's see where it goes. But yeah, I'm not optimistic either.
No man, that's
Yeah.
that's a bummer. Is because I remember when they announced that they're putting the Amazon got the rights to Lord of the Rings. This is back in '08. I mean no 2018 2019. And like I was talking to my friend, and he's a big Tolkien fan, and he's read out of books and he's super excited, and they're talking about like how they're gonna talk about like this, how the war starts and how the rings were created and stuff like that. And I was super excited when he talked about it, like, oh, did you know that Aragorn was this and stuff like that. And like for me, like I'm pretty sure he's probably still very optimistic about it, is because like but like it sort of like made me lose all hope. Like like if they're like I'm only gonna watch so much of this before it completely ruins everything for me. But the thing is that if I continue watching, there's gonna be unlimited content. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's the thing. As people doing this, like it's as much as bad as it is, it's still content.
Yeah.
It's something people gonna watch because people like people after hard day of work, they're gonna like
Mhm.
watch what's available, what's highly recommended. I mean, it's inevitable. I don't blame people for doing that, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like yeah, okay, I was gonna
Maybe
yeah, I same. I was gonna say this. I'm kind of agree with everyone else, including chat. Like the most interesting part is the dwarves for sure.
Mhm.
Especially I found it a bit interesting with the Durin with interaction with his dad, with the king.
Mhm.
Like the elves are up to something. See what they're up to. So
Yeah.
I kind of like
Like go with them, right? Yeah. Mhm.
I find that kind of makes sense. Like these people are up to something.
Yeah.
Then actually it gets fleshed out more. Actually, that's one of
Okay.
the good things I can say with episode 5. They kind of fleshed it out a little bit more. Maybe not as convincingly as I would like, but they kind of fleshed it out more in episode 5.
In the chat it says people teleport here
Teleport.
and there for no reason. Yep. It's
Mm,
literally like they know exactly where people are. And like, and the thing is, like, I don't know, like, Eragon, he's like a tracker, right? So like he knows how to track stuff, like he's a ranger, he knows stuff, but like, she's like a regular person. She doesn't have any skills. I don't know. Maybe after that one day, her and Theo were able to take out that white orc, the albino orc that one time. Now that she's like the best ever or something like that. I I don't know, but I for me, I hope it gets better. I know it won't, but we'll see. But if you said that in episode 5, they sort of flesh out what happens with Durin and Elrond, and that could be pretty interesting. But I'm not looking forward to the what you said about the Harfoots and the whole Galadriel thing near the end with the Lindeel. But yeah. All right. So what do you what are so we're gonna be talking about the House of the Dragon that we watched that was watched what's it called again? Not this past Sunday, but last Sunday. So it's the one where I believe the start of the show uh was with what's it called again? Rhaenyra. I believe she's supposed to like be meeting with a bunch of like people who are trying to like take her hand in marriage, correct?
yep.
Okay.
She's on a tour.
Okay.
So it starts off with old man Dondarrion. So an old geezer. It starts off with an old geezer. Then
Mhm.
she kind of mocks him. It's like, aren't you a bit too old to be marrying me? So he gets brushed aside. Then the next one that came in was someone too young.
Uh-huh.
It was a kid. It was a Blackwood apparently.
Mhm.
Like as he was trying to say his piece, say his written script, he was getting mocked by by a spectator. Yeah, the
Mhm.
Blackwoods, sure, they contributed so much to the war. It's like stuff like that. It's like
Mhm.
she she doesn't need a protector. She has dragons. So he was being mocked continuously.
Mhm.
Then Rhaenyra was like, okay, screw this. Okay, let's just get out of here. This is
I'm
ridiculous.
going home.
I'm going
Screw
home.
you guys. I'm going.
Yeah. The, yeah. So
But that scene was actually pretty interesting. Is because of course like it's like, oh, so of course the little boy, he brings out his sword, right? because they're like, oh, you want to go, right? Because like the older people started like threatening him, and the crazy part that is he actually kills them. He actually
Yeah,
kills one
yeah,
of them. He's like, oh
yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah. Take that, you bitch.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
and then the next scene is her on sailing back to King's Landing,
yeah.
and then
So,
you have Damon fly in on a dragon, like sort of like almost hitting the ship, and I and you can tell like by the actress's face, the girl who plays Rhaenyra, like she's like super happy to see him. I haven't seen him in a long time. The last time I saw you was when you gave me that necklace a long time ago. Because how long has it been? Was it like 6 months, 3 years, maybe
no,
three
no,
and a half years?
three and a half. Because remember, Damon gave that necklace in episode 1.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so years, 3 for sure, 3 years. So
Yeah,
it's been a really long time.
yeah. So she's like pretty excited to see him, and and then like I guess what's it called? Yeah. So I believe she was supposed to go on tour for another 2 more months, right?
Yep. But
Yeah.
Rhaenyra, like, no, screw this shit. I'm not wasting my time. Let's just go home.
Yeah.
Then she was asking Kristen Cole how his dad would take it. It was like, yeah, he's sure he's gonna get mad for sure. Yeah. Then next is Damon arrives to see Viserys. Yeah. He says that after defeating the crab feeder, he was named King of the Narrow Sea, which is the name of the episode. So, but then seemingly being cooperative with Viserys, he was like, but you are the one true king, stuff like that. He's licking Viserys' ass. Like, you're the one true king. Then Viserys like takes it and it's like, okay, welcome home, Daemon. Then after that, they have like probably a celebration of sorts. That's where Rhaenyra approaches them, but yeah, Viserys is clearly upset with Rhaenyra, so it's like, yeah, he was like, I'm talking to Daemon, so do whatever you want for yourself. Then that's when afterwards Rhaenyra and Alicent have a conversation about what's been going on. Like Alicent was like, yeah, Viserys is really upset that you cut the tour short. Then Rhaenyra was like, yeah, that was actually a very interesting exchange because it's kind of like an indicator of what's to come. Like Rhaenyra was like, at least I'm not a political instrument just making babies. I mean, yeah, she kind of apologized after that, but it was an interesting foreshadowing, especially. I'm not sure if you watched episode 5 yet, but it's kind of a foreshadowing what's going to happen to episode 5.
Yeah, I watched episode 5 already, so
yeah,
but it's
a lot to say.
It's crazy. It's because you're basically like all you're doing is making babies. Like what else are you gonna be doing? At least I'm trying to live out my life, like do and marry who I want to marry, right? And it's just like she wants to be free, and it's just like it's like you said, it's a foreshadowing for sure, and it's the following scene where she talks to Damon.
They joins. Yeah. So Rhaenyra was like probing Damon. So why'd you come back? You must have a because Rhaenyra knows he has an underlying motive. So, but like Damon was like, I just want to go home. I just want to chill. Like he's being vague about it. He's completely being vague about it. Then they talk about the particularly noteworthy part about that scene was like they were talking about the perspective of marriage for men as it is to women. Like Rhaenyra was like saying, for men getting married is a privilege, but for women it's like a death sentence because like they're just forced to follow what society wants compared to men. Then okay, then the following after that it goes to
I think doesn't Damon say something like relatively important there? Like he says something about like where she's like, oh, I want to, like I want, like I think Rhaenyra was like, I want to sort of like do, like, I don't want to be bound to this. I want to sort of like do like what I want. And then he says that like if you do that, you might miss out on like the wonders of life or something like that, or
Oh yeah.
something along those lines, right?
Yeah, for sure. So leading to the events later on in the episode. Yeah. Wait, a scene. Politics of steps. Oh, okay. So after that there was a council meeting, like so there was a council meeting with Viserys and all the other council members. Like the sea snake is still despite the time has passed, like the sea snake is still upset that the marriage did not push through between Viserys and Laena.
Mm-hmm.
So so the council was suggesting to find a way to appease the sea snake, which is, I think, what was gonna happen in the next episode. So
Mm-hmm.
that's also another foreshadowing. So because Colress it was also mentioned in the council that Colress was already seeking out alliances in the free cities, which could pose a threat to his regime if that were to happen. So it's like, we need to make a move now so that Colress stays with us as allies. Colress and the sea snake remains allies. Then after that, the more interesting part is later in the evening, Rhaenyra goes back to her room. Then that's when it happens. Like there's some apparently some rags in her rooms. Like she was wondering what are those items. Then she digs up the rags. Then she finds, apparently there's a secret passage in my room. Then it opens. She follows the secret passage, removing her princess garbs, of course, to conceal her identity. Then she finds out at the end of that passage it's Daemon. Then they go loiter around the nightlife of King's Landing. Then this interesting part is when they went to the performance, the kind of like the circus play, the play about they don't actually favor Rhaenyra being the queen. They prefer Aegon.
It's because she's a female.
Yes, right? Because she's female.
Mm-hmm.
Then so it's like Rhaenyra's like, let them think what they want. But Daemon said you have to somehow control the narrative, or that it's also important once you become queen. You need to change their perspective, that sort of thing.
Yeah, you got to prove them wrong, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and the crazy part is what's that called again? Is right before they head into like the brothel area, right? And like, what's it called again? I guess like they both take off their sort of like disguises, or like the, like she takes off her hat, and then like Daemon takes off his, like he removes his hood, and like I wonder if he did that purposely. Like he had to have done that purposely, knowing that knowing that, what's it called again, Otto has like his little watchers everywhere, right? Like what's it called again? In the original Game of Thrones, we have Lord Varys, right? He has his little birds, right? And I'm pretty sure like Otto has his own versions of that. And it's but that scene was crazy, right? It's sort of like it's very like what's going to happen? Is it actually going to happen? And like, like you literally see like orgies everywhere, and of course like you could tell there's like even in episode 1 and like in episode 2, you could tell like there was a tension like between them already, whether or not it's like sexual. And it was, and the thing is that we know that like in the earlier like books and stuff like that, with like Aegon and the Conqueror and stuff like that, we know that incest was a thing, because they try to keep the royal blood and stuff. And man, it's funny is because when I was watching it, I'm just like, okay, what's gonna happen? And then he completely blue balls her and just leaves. And she's like, huh? What? Diamond? She walks out. She pulls up her pants. She walks out. And of course, like you see, like, like a little boy sees her.
Yeah.
And it so happens that of course, like she goes back she goes back to her room. Of course, like, damn it, man, I'm not gonna be blue about the entire night. So get in here, Kristen.
Get in, Kristen.
And the thing is that, like, and correct me if I'm wrong. And all knights are supposed to, I've seen episode 5, but like I've known that they're supposed to take an oath for celibacy.
Oh, right? Yeah, that's what I was about to ask you. It's like, I don't know if that's actually the norm of being a knight, or it's just because it's Kristen's circumstance. But okay, apparently it's really the norm. So yeah,
it's like I believe that's the case, where like once you get sworn in to become a knight, you take an oath for celibacy. So it's not, of course, it's not as crazy as like when you go to the Night's Watch. I shall father no children. I shall I shall have no women and stuff like that. But yeah, she's like, the thing is that, let's say if anyone were to put in Kristen Cole's place, and you're like, of course we know what happens in the most recent episode, but let's say if you take your job super seriously and you're like, I came from nothing, I had nothing, and I was picked by the heir to the throne to become the knights, to become a knight, to be part of the Knight's Guard and stuff like that, right? And then if that person that gave you that opportunity, that you went from nothing and then now you have, like, you're a knight, and they say, hey, let's fuck, are you going to say no? Right? Like, if you, like, imagine it's sort of like you are indebted to this person that gave you a life that you have now, because before that you were nothing. So are you going to say, no, I'm not going to listen to anything you say, is because I don't want to break my like breaking my oath and stuff like that, and like majority of the people will say, oh, if the king or the queen tell you to do something, you're going to do it no matter what. So I feel like he was trapped. I feel like he was forced to do it, even though maybe he didn't want to. But of course, as a guy, like you're like, well, I'm gonna fucking have sex. Hell yeah, I'm gonna fucking have sex. But it's just it just, you feel like, you sort of feel like, oh shit, what's gonna happen next? Like what's gonna happen next? And then the next scene, you see Damon, he wakes up, right? And you see his quote unquote whore. And like, and then you see that kid that was in the alley. I'm like, oh shit. Like, he just got paid, or she just got paid for something. What's gonna happen? And then the whole scene with like Otto Hightower happens following, which is like, oh fuck. He's gonna do some weaseling. He's definitely gonna do some weaseling for sure.
Yeah. When I saw that kid, even in just the scene in the brothel, I already know, oh shoot, this kid is gonna squeal. I already know the kid was already probably a spy of sorts, which I was right. And yeah, I agreed with the Kristen Cole plot. Like, I also look at it in the perspective, if this person, Rhaenyra, can bring you all the way up here, she can just easily bring you down if you reject her as well.
Exactly.
So it's like, oh shoot, yeah, it's a hard place to be for sure.
Like, do you know that song? She was working at a waitress at a cocktail bar when I met you. Right? Remember that song? It's like an old
probably,
song, right?
probably. Yeah, it's like, most likely I heard it.
You want me, baby? Right? There's a part in that song where he said, he's like, I'm the one who put you where you are now, and I can put you back down too. Like, maybe that's how he felt. He's like, oh shit, So we have a person in chat says that, I don't know if the celibacy is part of it, but the oath of a knight in Game of Thrones is pretty much you dedicate your life and your soul to protect your lord or lord's family. Yeah. So yeah, I feel like celibacy is actually part of it. I'm not 100% sure, but the thing is,
I'm not sure either.
The only person that we know that was a knight that always had sex was Jaime Lannister.
But he's a Lannister.
Yeah, he's a Lannister.
So he gets privileges for sure.
but yeah, and it's just what's it called again? And then you have the next scene, which is crazy. Is because that night of what's it called again? when like the complete opposite. Let's backtrack a little bit. Like the complete opposite and the mirror of the contrast between what happened with Rhaenyra and Daemon, and the contrast between that and Alicent and Viserys, right? When she's in her room, and then it's like, oh, my lady, my queen, the king wants you. It's like, it's late. It's like, yeah, I know. And then she's sort of like, fuck, like she's sort of like forced. She feels coerced to do it because it's her responsibility. With what it's like you said, it sort of foreshadowed this incident when Rhaenyra talked to her. Like she's sort of just there, a baby making factory, and like I can't do anything. It just sucks for her, and it's just like it's because it's like she didn't get to choose, and it's her father's fault. But I have a feeling that she's taking her role as the queen. Like she's really thinking about Rhaenyra. It's like, my friend, she's my friend. And stuff like that. And she's not thinking it as a queen. She's like, oh, she's my friend, right? And then the following morning you have Otto Hightower come in, and he's like tells them what happened. And then you see her, I'm like, oh shit, like what's gonna happen? Is Viserys gonna believe what Otto is saying, like because of the hand? But it's just like at this moment, even though in terms of ethically what he did was wrong, right? As the king, you should always question, whether or not your hand is giving you the correct information. But as a father, you're like, bitch, that's my daughter you're talking about, like no matter what, you will always believe your family first. And it's just like, who did you hear this from? And he's like, who did you hear this from? He's like, I have my sources. It's like, bring your sources here right now. I want to talk to them. It's like, no, like, you got to believe me. And what's it called again? It's just like, if that was like if that was sort of me, and I talked to this with my wife, I'm like, what would you do if like you heard something about your best friend, but your best friend has always been very truthful and like honest to you and stuff like that, and you hear someone's trying to like sully their name, throw their name in the mud and stuff like that. Like, what would you do? She's like, I'll be extremely upset. Like, how dare you talk to me about this? And the fact that like, even though he the decision that he did was I understand why Otto did it. It's because he's trying to basically weasel things to make sure that Aegon becomes the heir, right, instead of Rhaenyra. But yeah, it's like that the fact that like he took the the hand of the king away from him, the role of the hand, which is like, I understand why he did it. And like, for me, even though what he did is probably it's a good and a bad thing. It's
morally gray.
Yeah. What do you think about that scene? What would you have done, like, if you were in like Viserys's like position?
Overall, I would have done what he did. Because what will be the straw that breaks the camel's back for me, if I were Viserys, like, was when Rhaenyra told me that, okay, I will agree to the marriage terms if you remove Otto. Okay, done deal. That's it's like, at that point, when you get an offer from your daughter that she will cooperate, your disobedient daughter will cooperate, then go on. Okay, done deal. I'll let him out. But even before that, it's like, okay, so Otto, Otto is opportunistic. They all are, because as king, that's what you really think. They all just want to lick your boots because they wanna they want something out of you for sure. But he was right, I suppose, before it gets out of hand to tell me. But at the same time, of course, you're what you said. You'll initially get upset. It's like, excuse me, my family member or my best friend doing this crap? No way. It's like, of course you're suspended in disbelief. It's like, but then this is not. We are people of influence. We need to change the narrative in the politics because we hold all the power in the realm, so we need to change the narrative in our favor. So Otto was right with regards to that, but at the same time, I know that he's just trying to uplift, bring himself further up the power. So
Yeah.
I'm still in between at that point. But when I get an offer from my disobedient daughter, that okay, I will agree to you, but you need to let this guy out. Okay, done deal. I don't know. That's what I think. That's what. So I would ultimately I would do the same thing. I would do the same thing.
Yeah, like especially if the person that they're sort of like slandering is your offspring, right? You're just like, oh, this person's my daughter, my son. Like, how dare you talk trash? Make up such lies. Especially like freaking having sex with her uncle. Like, what the what the fuck, right?
Yeah,
It's like, are you fucking crazy? Like I would say if Otto wasn't Otto and he's like a random person, like that person would have been killed, like beheaded instantly for saying something like that. Yeah. But if you're Otto trying to look out for the well-being of your daughter and grandson, I think what Otto did was, I understand where he's coming from, right? Of course, you're trying to look out for your grandson. You're trying to look out for your own well-being and your daughter and the betterment of the kingdom, right? Like, we don't want the person in charge to be doing this type of stuff, right? Like, and if it especially, it's not just like us that we saw it, like people, a common folk actually saw this person doing that kind of stuff. So it's such a gray area, like you said. It's like, if you're on Otto's side and you see it, like, would you report it to the king? And it's like, of course you would. But the thing is that you have to be very careful about it. But like, would there have been a better way for Otto to have done it? Maybe, right? But it's such a sensitive topic, right? It's like, oh, you just want my throne.
Yeah.
You just want this thing. So I think whether or not if he doesn't do, like, if the thing is, if Otto didn't do it, he would still be king. I mean, the Hand's king. But the thing is, it's such a hard decision to, like, well, if I was Otto, I wouldn't have said anything because I would have lost my position. But the thing is that now, like, like you hear Allison hearing the entire thing, and then you're like, wondering if this is true, and then like she immediately goes and confronts her. Like, you're my best friend, but as your queen, and your best friend, did you do this? And of course, like, your best friend would never lie to you, right? And of course, she completely does. Because I see him looking at the future of his daughter and grandson, not himself. I think it's I think for Otto, if the king sort of like took the bait, or not the bait, but like listened to him, it would have been a win-win for him, right? But I think for this, it's the fact that you were able to get the king to sort of think a little differently, right? Is because after that, the king talks to Rhaenyra, and is like, whether or not you did this and stuff like that, and I'm like, the maester is gonna give you this tea, and the thing is that if you take it, that means what was said was true. But since we are royalty and people look up to us, like, we got to make sure that we don't say anything. The view of the public to us, we have to look good, and because like they wouldn't want like the heir to the throne to be this type of person. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think, Grae? It's like, do you think?
Yeah.
If you were Otto, what would you have done?
Yeah, it's what if you were Otto?
Yeah, if you were Otto, yeah.
Yeah, he's under, because Otto for sure. He's actually like him in a sense that he's not as straightforward compared to like Littlefinger. Like, he straight up just wants the power. Littlefinger's wanted all the power he could muster. Otto, it's a bit more complicated than that. Like, we find out in episode 5 that like he's only not looking after his Allison in general, but he's also looking after the realm itself, because like it was okay. I'm gonna end up mentioning what happens in episode 5, but he's trying to maneuver it in such a way that there's peace and stability. That's why he ends up telling telling Viserys what he did. Because let's see, what can be the implications if Rhaenyra, if he did not tell Viserys. So Rhaenyra might have continued going with Daemon on a daily basis, and Daemon would still be there. He would not have been exiled from what happened. So like it could lead to more repercussions too with within the kingdom. So yeah, given that he really wants Aegon to be in the throne, because that would be not only be good for his name, that he justifies it that it's for the stability of the realm, because the realm really does not want a female to be in the throne. So he's backing that. So I think it's more on he will, because like imagine if he hid the information and other people knew he hid it. They could also use it against him, like, oh, what, you already knew this was going on, why didn't you tell the king? Oh, I'm gonna tell the king that you didn't say it. It can get that kind of complicated. So I think he did his duty, even though the consequence of that being he lost his position. I think I would have said the same. Maybe I could have said it better, like you said. I don't know in what way, I don't know how. Maybe the timing could have been better, or I don't know. He said he was actually really reserved when he went to Viserys. Like, I don't know how to say this. It's like just be blunt. Then it ended up losing his job. So generally, I think he was also locked in that he had to say it. In my opinion, he had to do it. Yeah, even though it seems like it's being selfish.
Yeah, I think what he did, like I agree with you. I believe if I was in Otto's place, like what would be the best thing to do? You know, like it's that it would definitely be like, okay, I'm gonna tell the king what happened, but most likely this will lose me my job. But the thing is that it's sort of like, you know, like it's sort of like if you catch a person stealing, but that person stealing is like your boss. Your boss's like kid or something like that. Like, would you might lose your job for it, right? It's sort of like, would you do it? Like some majority of people won't, right? Because it's like, oh, who cares, But the thing is that, let's say if that person was going to be your manager, or like or is going to be like the person who's going to be in charge of you moving forward, would you want that person, like if you saw him stealing like money, is that ethical? Is so like you want to make sure that you tackle that before. But the thing is that the fact that you might lose your job, like, it's like you at least you will still have your your principles intact, like your moral compass will still be there, when versus like let's say if something happens later on and like you like things gets worse, and then like that person that becomes your boss ends up like embezzling like millions of dollars, and then it brings down the company or something like that. In this case, will bring down the kingdom. Well, like you could have stopped that, and then how would you feel then? It's sort of like that. And Otto, I think what Otto did was not selfish. I don't think it was selfish. Maybe like, of course, if it ends up going his way, then then it's a win-win, like I said. But I think what he did was not selfish at all. I think he was trying. Yeah. Wow. I feel.
Yeah.
You feel
bad. Otto was. He was.
Yeah.
It wasn't exactly a black or white thing. So I don't really despise Otto for doing it, because I mean it's kind of like a Kristen Cole thing. Like you're stuck in between, and play the Game of Thrones.
Yeah, you got to play it. Like, and the thing is that like imagine if like you hear stories about like oh, I heard so and so when they were younger, they used to do all these like crazy shit. It's like, is that true? I don't know. And then all of a sudden there's a song written about it, right? So you want to sort of quell that and let that stop that information from leaking before it does. And it's sort of like damage control. So but yeah, the thing is that I do want to talk about episode 5. But we're gonna talk about that tomorrow because that episode 5 was crazy. It was
Oh,
actually
yeah,
episode 5 was really good. It was
really
actually
good.
it was actually really slow, but a lot of shit happened. Like it's
A
actually
lot,
it's
a lot.
just like it's just a lot of story, but we'll talk about that tomorrow. But yeah, man, Rings of Power is doing it's I was going into the show like I'm not gonna like this. This show's gonna suck, like episode, season 8 ruined everything. But man, this show is every episode. I'm like, man, I want more. I want to know more.
Yeah.
Like man, but yeah, there's a lot of crazy thing happens in the next episode. I'm definitely 100% looking forward to it. But holy crap, man! But all right, so here's a segue to another thing. Okay, I believe you. Speaking of, what's it called again? Things that are sort of like how people sort of write in, like, like that, like being like, identity politics and stuff like that. We're gonna jump over to this story right over here. I believe it's the same. It's the same. It's not the same article, but it's the same. I believe it's the same topic. So right over here. So this is from Bounding in the Comics. And so prominent anti-ESG Disney investor calls on company to commit to political neutrality before they are expected to take sides and that won't be favorable. So I believe you sent this to sent something to me earlier, but I think it's from a different website. And so let's go ahead and read this. In the midst of the ongoing public backlash against the company's recent foray into political activism, prominent anti-ESG Disney investor Vivek Ramaswamy has made a personal plea to the House of the Mouse for them to refrain from stepping further into this arena. Otherwise, he warns they will be expected to take sides and won't be favorable to his business. So here's the thing. This is talking about how like they are talking about identity politics. They're talking taking sides in the political stuff. It's sort of like one big caveat to this, I believe, is what's it called again? Wait, Rings of Power. You like it? No.
House of the Dragon. House of the Dragon.
Sorry, I probably misspoke. But I believe the first thing that sort of like where Disney really like I'm pretty sure Disney was really already like politically involved or motivated. But what big thing that happened was during 2020 when they fired Gina Carano for I'm assuming that's when it started, in my opinion, right? Basically she basically came out saying that how it was during the summer of love here in the US where there's a bunch of like riots and stuff like that. Billions of dollars of buildings were burnt and stuff like that, and then the whole thing with George Floyd and stuff like that. And it's she basically posted a picture of I guess a picture of somewhere in Germany in 1942 during the Nazis, Adolf Hitler's regime, saying that like these are our neighbors, and if we don't we should treat each other like neighbors and stuff like that, and we should not fight our neighbors, something along those lines. And then she got fired from Mandalorian, right? She didn't say anything political. I was just saying that we should treat each other like how we want to be treated. We should treat our neighbors, or what happens is if we start treating our neighbors, like how we are treating them right now, we might end up in maybe a situation that we will not want. That's all she said. And it wasn't even her quote. It was an image that she shared that had a quote on it. So I think that's when, like a lot of these things starts happening, right? The founder of the biopharmaceutical company Roivant Sciences and the author of the Woke Inc. Inside Corporate America's Social Justice Scam, Ramaswamy, if it wasn't already apparent in the title of the book, has been a fervent critic of the corporate America's recent obsession of following environmental, social, and governance (ESG) principles, in which short essentially serves as rubrics against companies which companies can rank their commitments to such goals as promoting diversity, fighting climate change, and performing social outreach, and the like. On September 19th, speaking as representative of his recently co-founded Strive Asset Management and those investors who through his firm have some level of stake in the entertainment company, Ramaswamy issued a formal letter to the Disney CEO Bob Chapek asking him to corrective action in the face of an unprecedented public approvals rating, a collapse following the company's public embrace of controversial political positions in deference to social activists. So basically, in short, I'm assuming what he's trying to say is, Republicans buy Nikes too, right? So if you are catering all of your entertainment that's coming out towards one side and not the other, coming from a person who just likes money, right, who's an investor of the company, they would just want more money. So, and if you are just siloing all of your content towards one side of the party, you're alienating your other side. And when it comes down to investors, all you're seeing is why there's 50% of the market that's being untapped. Why is that? Right? And like they are basically letting these Twitterati's, basically a bunch of these angry people on Twitter, dictating what they are trying to come out with. It's like, hey, we want this thing, don't do this thing, fire this person. It's a very good example is Evangeline Lilly. You know who that is, right?
I don't think so.
So Evangeline Lilly played Tauriel in The Hobbit, and she played a wasp in Ant-Man and the Wasp. So
okay.
She I believe she lives in Canada. If correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe she lives in Canada. And during the whole I believe it was early this year or last year, there was these truckers who are basically the people who are without truckers, our food and our distributions are basically going to hell. Without them, that's it. We don't have any food. We don't have any materials that are being transported. So they were forced to take the COVID shot. They're like, if you don't take it, we fire you. Right? You're done. And they're like, that. Well, like that's it's sort of like the thing is like, we don't want to take it. How about if we're uncomfortable? How about if we are our doctor told us not to take it, or worst case, what happens if they're they're anti-vax? You can't force them because this is a medical procedure. And so what happened is that they started doing a strike, and they stopped delivering stuff to stores and stuff like that. And they started doing this like big strike where a bunch of these trucks were all lined up in Ottawa, in Canada.
Oh yeah, I read that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and they're basically like not doing anything, and they're basically honking their horns, protesting, right? And this is a peaceful protest, right? They're not doing anything. Maybe they're doing noise pollution because they're honking their horns, and you have these people who are like these food vendors that will actually come out and give them food and stuff like that. It was actually pretty nice, right? And I think Evangeline Lilly was one of the people who are saying that you shouldn't have to be forced to take the vaccine. Right? You shouldn't have to be forced. You shouldn't be fired from that. And all of a sudden, people on Twitter is like, fire this person. She's an anti-vaxxer. She's obviously a Trump supporter, and she's a conservative Republican or something like that. You should fire her. And she recast Wasp in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Because and it's just like she didn't even say anything political. All she said that people should have, if it's a person's body, they should have the choice whether or not they want to take the COVID shot, whether or not you want to or not want to. It should be up to the person's personal preference. And that's one of the things we're saying, that these social activists and driving all these things is sort of like making things like Disney's probably lost a good amount of money is because of something like that, right? So let's continue reading. Citing such events as companies battle with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis over the state's newly passed parental rights and education law, the firing of Gina Carano, and the various attempts on the way in on the anti-abortion legislation, Ramaswamy would lament, there is no evidence to suggest that these positions have benefited Disney stockholders, and the growing body of evidence suggested that they have harmed Disney stockholders. See, that's the thing. Ultimately, all Disney, the stockholders and the stakeholders and investors all really care about is the money, the figures, right? If the Dow Jones has plummeted because of the, like, and stuff like that, and people are basically staying home and stuff like that. Your stock should go up is because people are watching Disney Plus. But the fact that you're saying all these things, like, make this go away. We want more money, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is that, like, this is very controversial, is because, like, I who work in the, I guess I would consider I work in the entertainment business.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
I see all of this firsthand. So it's pretty crazy. And like, I'm actually glad that the company I work for is it's pretty, like, it's pretty neutral in terms of the things. Like, if you don't want to, we're not going to force you to do it. But if you want to come into work, you have to make sure you have a negative COVID test and stuff like that, right? I think that's how it should be done. But like, if it's like, oh, you have to do this, or if you're not with us, you're against us, kind of thing. And ultimately, as an investor, like, all I'm seeing is that we're losing money. And like, especially if the only time that you actually hear investors actually do something about something is if their pockets are wearing thin because of the money, right?
Mhm.
To the contrary, just last week, you praised Disney for standing our ground, he asserted. We find these comments deeply troubling for Disney's future. To this end, Ramaswamy then took moment to remind Disney's board it owes its fiduciary duty solely to Disney's actual owners, not to the minority of its employees, activists, organizations, and large financial institutions who promote one-sided political agendas. See, the thing is that, right? I like, correct me if I'm wrong here, but if I am trying to make entertainment, I'm trying to make entertainment for everyone, right? I'm not trying to, like, entertain just one political aisle or another political aisle, because as Disney, you're going to be alienating your audience, right? I don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative, or anything like that, what religion you believe in. Like, all I care is make something that everyone likes watching, right? And if you, and stop saying, if you don't like it, don't watch it. It's because that's what everyone is saying, right? You have all of these people, these activists, these actors in Hollywood saying that if you don't like what we make, don't watch it. And then you actually see your money go down is because of, all right, we won't watch it then. It's very plain and simple how things have fallen apart in Hollywood, and especially in Disney, which is one of the most powerful companies out there.
Mhm.
But so Grae, so I'm a person who does not live in the States. Do you get any of this, like, where you are?
Honestly, it's not as apparent here in the
Mhm.
Philippines compared to, because I'm just like, I'm all over the internet all the time, which is why I'm very abreast of the situation compared to my peers here in the Philippines.
Mhm.
Because yeah, it's not really a big thing here in the Philippines. Whenever there's that kind of advocacy, it's generally, it generally has a favorable response, because here they don't take it too far.
Mhm.
They don't interpret it in such a way that the same way you guys do it. Like, for example, I actually, when I was scrolling through my Facebook, I saw our news media covering Little Mermaid, the one with the Hail Berry. When I saw their reactions, it was actually generally positive, because they don't really go into it as much as you guys do. So, which is why it's
Mhm.
not really much of a big deal here. But
Mhm.
yeah, I pointed this out to you because I think this topic here, the ESG, this is something I believe YouTubers should tackle more rather than the Disney content themselves.
Mhm.
Why? Because I think this is the root of it. This is the root of why all Disney's making all this decisions in their entertainment. Like, why they're going for very woke, they're going for the race swapping. It's because of this. It's because of this ESG.
Mhm.
Because I watched a YouTube video months prior. I'm not sure if it's the BlackRock video or the Netflix video, but it was made by a popular YouTuber named Moon.
Mhm.
In those topics, like why this company is falling apart, why this company is going down in profits, he points out it's because of ESG. Because apparently the ESG, there's a financial index for that. That's the sole basis of that financial index is you need to be ESG centric. You need to be environmental, social. governance. I don't know what it
Mhm.
says in the article. So the moment you're not part of that X index, ESG index, you lose access to a ton of investors, which is why I think to a certain degree, these companies are sort of like tied. Their hands are tied, even though like you're the CEO of Disney. Yeah, you have
Mhm.
to adhere to these woke agendas, woke politics because of this index. Because the moment you fall out of that index, you lose access to a lot of investor money. So
Mhm.
in the business side of things, like example, if I'm a big time hedge fund manager, if you are not in that ESG index, if you are not listed in that ESG index, I cannot put money to you. Which
Mhm.
is why I think which is what is leading these companies to do what they're doing. Like even though people are saying like stop this woke stuff, stop this woke content, it's because they apparently I strongly believe they cannot because they want to still maintain their listing in that index.
Mhm.
Of course, they cannot. The example, Bob, he cannot say it publicly. Oh, I cannot unwoke Disney because we'll be delisted. Of course, he's gonna be in shitload of trouble if he says that. I
Yeah.
think this is the reason. This is why I feel that people should point this out more. I think change has to manifest in the index so that these companies trying to go woke like Netflix, Disney, that's when the change can happen, so that they can go back to making good entertainment for everyone.
Mhm.
That's this is why it's because like what I know this a lot of YouTubers talk about, like what we talk about, like we talk about Rings of Power being too woke, we talk about the Star Wars being too woke, but we don't really point out as much of the ESG. I
Mhm.
Because I really think it's the ESG that needs to be revised or changed.
Mhm.
I think it's beginning to manifest here in this article because it's already the investors themselves are pointing it out. Like,
Mhm.
okay, we need to change things. We need Disney stop taking political sides. We need at the end of the day, all I care about is making more profit. So I think
Yeah.
this is a step in the right direction, which is why I
Mhm.
feel that this should be talked about more. Because once more and more investors chime in, like, okay, stop with the woke agenda, stop with the woke politics. I think that's the time when Disney will actually listen, rather than customers complaining. But
Yeah.
also, there's also this other side, which for me, I find kind of weird. Like, what is the point of staying in that index? So you can have access to the pool of these big time investors, if you're losing money anyway. Like,
Mhm.
how is it still going to be attractive to these investors if you're continuously losing substantial amount of revenue, or you're not making as much money as they would want, so that you'll be attractive to invest in? So yeah, there's also that side to it. But at the end of the day, I think this is a step in the right direction, and I'm
Mhm.
hoping that more large investors step in. Because the
Mhm.
article I showed you, I think he possesses like 11%, something like that. I'm not familiar with the numbers, but
Decent amount.
yeah, a decent amount. Yes, a
That's a
decent
big
amount. I
amount. Yeah.
hope we can only hope that more investors step in, join him in his advocacy. That
Mhm.
way, we can actually see change within these entertainment companies, so that we can finally get the content that we want, like MCU Phase One type of content, stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
So like going back to your comment earlier, and you talk about like why are they sort of like like look, if the investors are like they see them losing money, why are they staying on this the ESG? I think the reason why is because a lot of these companies that are producing these like in entertainment, like for instance, right, you have Viacom, right? Viacom owns Paramount, Nickelodeon, and DreamWorks, right? And then you have what's it called, Buena Vista Disney, which owns like Marvel's, Lucas, ESPN, now Fox, and then you have what's it called, Time Warner, or Comcast, that owns like Warner Brothers and stuff like that, Cartoon Network, and those are basically your like at least the big three companies that owns, like in terms of entertainment, they own majority of everything, and there isn't a lot of companies out there that are coming out with their own entertainment, right? Like it's like, for instance, you have I believe the Daily Wire, that's a conservative Republican, kind of, not Republican, but more conservative leaning, that's run by Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, and Jeremy Boring, and they're basically more conservative, and they're they're releasing their own entertainment content, right? Like they came out with Run, Hide, Fight, and they have one like something on the prairie with Gina Carano. I think she stars in it because when Gina Carano got canceled by Disney, she went over to the Daily Wire because then Daily Wire made a movie and she basically starred in it. And what's it called again? This is set by Andrew Breitbart. He said what's it called again? Politics is downstream from entertainment or something like that, or reverse. And it's so close. So so as of right now, what like the companies that basically runs like Hollywood, like these big companies, majority of them are like the stakeholders are actually like they're extremely rich, right? You have these George Soros people that like basically funds these like narratives, like we should have all of these narratives. So that's why George Soros is like a mega billionaire in Hollywood. Like it's sort of they sort of just follow where the money goes. But once, like you said, what we have to do as people who are consumers, we have to, I guess, like sort of like vote with our money. We vote whether or not we like what Disney's doing, what Netflix is doing, what these companies are doing, and when you see their stocks tank, or like especially with Netflix, I believe back in February they lost like what several like maybe like 200,000 or like 2 million people unsubscribed because of cuties, right? Do you know what you remember cuties, right?
Yeah.
Right. So like it's just like I know a lot of people unsubscribe. I was very close to doing it, is because like I don't want to support something that supports something that I do not believe in, especially something that has to do with pedophilia kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, I have like 8 to 10 people that are using my account, and so like I can't.
Oh, okay.
Just like I can't just like, oh, here we go, you know, like. So I'm like, you know what, I'll just suck it up, take one to the, you know, take one to the face, and you know it's, you know, and I'm paying for the more expensive one. I'm paying for the one that's like $17.99. So I'm like you got to stop these with these things. So like once they start seeing that, hey, our money is not is running dry, the well is running dry, we're gonna have to stop making stuff. And they found out that, I think one major thing that they found out was, I'm not sure, but Top Gun Maverick has no political leaning in it, right? It's just a entertainment fun movie. Yes, it has to do it. You could be like, oh, this is pro-war propaganda and shit like that, whatever. Okay, like that's every country goes to war, okay, and every country benefits from going to war, whether you like it or not, right? It's because what happens when you go to war, there's actually a lot of money being exchanged. So what's it called again? You have I think it's Paramount that made a movie that has no political leaning, no like, you know, it's not woke at all. It's just entertainment, and it broke $1 billion. So it's like you did something like that that's just entertaining. Why can't we just do more of that? Like maybe that's something that sort of, okay, you know, I've opened up my eyes. I'm quote unquote awakened now, right? I'm woke now. So like it's just, maybe we just lean back a little bit, and we're hoping that this sort of like crazy thing that's happening right now in entertainment can sort of just go back to where it was maybe like 10 years, 15 years ago, right?
Yeah,
and it's just like
sure.
create entertaining stuff, like no, like sure you can add in your stuff, like a lot of people like, oh, if you thought this was, if you don't like the Little Mermaid Ariel, you know, Haley Bailey playing Little Mermaid, why do you like this thing? It's like, yes, I like it. It's because it's entertaining, right? I remember there's a singer. I think I spoke earlier. Her name is Brandy. Like she's black, and I believe she's a singer and actor. And then I think they made like a Cinderella movie, like, and this is back in the 90s. And a lot of people was like, well, are you mad about that? It's like, no, it's because it was entertaining. So the thing is that I know nothing. We haven't seen any more footage of like Haley Bailey as Little Mermaid. But the thing is that I believe the synopsis of the story of the movie has already been leaked, right? She's not going to the shore for Eric. She's going to the shore for a dog. I'm like, that's not the story. You know, you're changing up the story. So I think that's what people really hate. It's like, look what happened with Mulan. They completely changed that that movie, and that's like my favorite Disney movie. Not because I'm Chinese. It could be a reason because it's Chinese, but it's sort of like, you know, like I have a close friend of mine. Like he loves Raya. You know, like it's because it's about like Filipino culture with like people from like from the islands, right? Like it's like you have like the Filipino culture in it, and then I watched it with my wife. We're just like, movie's okay. He's not like a masterpiece or anything like that, but it's just like, but the fact that now they feel like they always need something that has to represent them,
Yeah.
and if it's not representing me in the movie or the show, then it's not worth it. I'm not going to watch it. And the thing is that you're sort of that's not how entertainment should be. Yes, maybe they can have a character, but why can't you just make something that's entertaining, right? You can't just like, oh, you have to watch this because the lead is this person. You have to watch this because the lead is this person. I think that's a wrong way for watching movies.
Yeah.
But all right, so let's. I believe a little bit almost done, right? To contrary on blah 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 blah. Okay, here it is. In 2022, three of the largest passive assets managers in the world, BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, which is Vanguard. I believe all of these are actually like they had, which is crazy. BlackRock and Vanguard. Vanguard's like one of the biggest banking companies in the world. Where Disney's top three shareholders detailed. By contrast, the actual powers of Disney are not BlackRock, State Street, or Vanguard, or for that matter, Strive. Disney's actual owners are the clients of these institutions, everyday citizens whose capital is invested in passively managed index funds. You owe a fiduciary duty to the actual owners of Disney, not the institutions who claim to represent them. There are strong reasons to believe that these large asset managers are not acting with their clients' best interests in mind. Like Disney customers and Americans more generally, Disney's shareholders are not monolithically progressive. Thus, even if these investors wanted their capital to be used for political purposes, and most do not all of them will agree with the positions Disney chose to adopt. So,
okay.
So I believe that it talks a little bit more about a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, you know, like bringing in Ironheart, you know, like for me, do you know Ironheart's backstory?
No, I'm not. Is he or she related to Iron Man, or
Okay,
is that
so
yeah? Okay. Go ahead.
so Ironheart is I think her name is Riri. I think her name is Riri Williams or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but she is a African American, and
Okay.
and her backstory of how she became Ironheart is the most dumbest shit ever. So she was in school, and what's it called again? And I guess she was like writing an article or something like that, and
Okay.
and it's like, I can be whatever I want, and then he's like, and then like something about being like, oh, you can be whoever you want, right? When you grow up, you can be whoever you want, and the teacher is like, technically that's not true. You cannot be whoever you want. Some people have it better, some people have it worse. So you can't actually be whoever you want to be. And it's like who can I not be? You're right. And then she goes, I don't know. You cannot be Tony Stark. And then her motivation in life now, she's supposed to be really, really smart. She's like 16. Her motivation moving forward was, I'm gonna be better than Tony Stark. So she actually sneaks into Tony Stark's like house and steals his technology and makes her own suit.
What?
Yeah, that's Ironheart, right? And she is actually in the next Black Panther movie, the Wakanda Forever. Like you see a little girl that's like hammering something that has a heart, like sort of like on sort of you see where her helmet is, like there's a little heart shape.
Yeah.
Her actual suit, like where the light will actually beam out, is actually shape of a heart too. So like Ironheart. And for me, I'm just like, that's so stupid. You know, like
Yeah.
we need a black person to do this. We need we need an Asian Hulk, right? Okay, we're gonna have Braun or like Amadeus Cho. You know, we're gonna have an Asian Hulk now. I'm like, that's so stupid. You know, like, but it's like it's just all these things came in like the what's it called again, the 2012s around there, 2013s. That's when it happened in comics first, and that's when comics sort of started to die. Now like comics as a medium is just a dead medium now, because first of all, everything's digital, so it sucks. But yeah, there's actually in a Wakanda Forever, And then you have what's it called again? You have a Miss Marvel. You know, you need a what's it called again? I believe a Pakistani like representative and stuff like that. And it's crazy, man. It's pretty nutty. But if you don't know, what's it called again? Walt Disney is actually Republican, right? Like he's actually a Republican, and he's all about like the American value, like I remember one of his let's see, the Walt Disney quote. He has a quote, and let's see, let me actually look for it really quick, but they ended up removing some of it, right? Let's see. They actually removed this actual quote from Disney, like actually at Disneyland, I believe. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, it's pretty sad, like I believe it's I think to all who come to this happy place, welcome, right? Yeah, this is the quote right here. Where's the full quote? It's like not. I can't find it on Google. Like, are they like completely removing it? Oh, here it is. Okay, so I'm going to read it for you. To all that come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land. Here, age relives fond memories of the past, and here, youth may savor the challenges and the promise of the future. Disneyland is dedicated to the ideals of the dreams and the hard facts that created America. We, with hope that it will, stupid pop up, with hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world. So the part that says, they actually removed the word America. They completely removed it. I believe in some theme parks they removed it. It's because it's not inclusive, right? And it's not inclusive enough, and you're excluding a lot of people. And the thing is that it's actually as a person who lives here in the States, like it's for some reason it's popular to hate America, right? Especially when Trump was in office. Like if you are pro America, you're pro freedom, you are pro, like if you love your country, you're considered like a racist Nazi or something like that, which is insane. Like loving your country is considered bad. Having the American flag outside of your house, like not kneeling during the national anthem it's like that, like all of these crazy things that's been happening. It's not what Disney would have wanted, right? It's like and a lot of people don't really care. They don't really care anymore, right? And I remember like so sort of one last thing before we sort of like jump to a different couple of other topics. I remember when I used to work at Disney, even working there, when I actually entered the park as an employee, I feel the Disney magic. Like I feel like like I feel like a kid again, even though I'm working there. And like I feels like that magic is gone. I don't know why. Like even maybe because I missed 2D animation or something like that, or a lot of the stuff that I'm watching, it doesn't feel like Disney anymore. It doesn't feel like I'm sort of like I'm a kid again. I don't feel that, and when that happens, like people just stop. Like now Disneyland just feels to me is like another theme park.
And yeah, for sure.
Extremely overpriced, and like I'm not gonna.
Yeah, it's expensive. It's expensive. I've been there a couple of years ago before COVID. Disney Sea, I believe. Yeah, it's not. It's not what it used to be. It's not what I remember back when I was a kid.
Yeah, man. But all right, let's jump over to this right over here. Have you heard of the news about Woman King?
Oh, I did not catch up on that honestly, but I've been seeing it all over YouTube.
Yeah, so let's talk about this really quick. So I guess what's it called again? The ratings for Woman King, I guess they were tampered with, because according to what I know, the Woman King the like no like for me like there's only been a few movies where it's like perfect, right? And
Yeah.
I don't like I haven't seen the movie yet. I do sort of want to watch it, but it's sitting at a 94% and 99 audience, which is a crazy good.
Wow.
Like it's just
Wow.
this
Okay.
movie. This movie is like the bestest movie ever, right? So so I'm like, all right, so let me go ahead and check out the audience, right? Let's go all audience, right? All audience is 83. Let's go check out there. Can we actually go check out these ratings?
Yeah. Are they really verified?
Yeah. So first one, movie was super good. Second one, absolutely must see. Regalness and pride, strength, beauty, Africa was full on display. Exciting acting. I left the theater wanting more. Overall was good start to finish. One of the best films ever. If it's best film ever, why is it 4.5? The movie was
True.
incredible. My entire family loved it and will be going to see it again. Definitely must see. It does not say specifically what they liked about it. It just say it's good.
Yeah.
It's good,
Yeah.
right? Like I feel like these are bots. Like incredibly fantastic story, truly great acting. I love to see everything about it was powerful. It was a movie and action. It was great. Viola did amazing job. The girl. So okay, this one right here is actually I would say is like a legit one.
Yeah. It looks legit.
Majority of these is like acting is good, must see. Stories inspiring, well done. Did a good job. Viola Davis supporting cast was stellar. 10 out of 5.
10 out of 5.
Oh wow, this is very good. So I guess like I'm not sure these are. It feels fake to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
For sure.
it doesn't feel like a legit rating. But let's go actually and says but over here, I guess last week or a couple weeks ago, I guess there was a hashtag on
Twitter.
on what's it called on Twitter saying that boycott the Woman King, and I guess she I guess Viola Davis got like extremely upset and she went onto Twitter and started ranting and stuff like that, which is pretty nutty, pretty damn crazy. Let me actually go ahead and share a screen so you see what I'm looking at. There we go. So right here, the Woman King calls for a boycott of Viola's film amid slave trade criticism. Viola Davis' new movie has sparked fierce debate about Hollywood covering up hard truths through the lens, including slavery, resulting in some calling to boycott this one. The Woman King hits theaters this weekend, but almost as quickly as the hype for the flick started soaring, the pushback also began, with calling out the outright shunning because that what they perceived as whitewashing the history of subjects depicted. This is a difficult story to tell. My take as a historian, slavery and the Atlantic slave trade of the movie Woman King, slavery archive historians. Okay, so the Woman King softens the truths of the slave trade. The Dahomey had fierce female fighters, but they also sold people overseas. So according to what I heard, this movie was this is based off actual like history, and
Okay.
and what it was is I guess the Dahomey, which is like I'm not sure if it's like it's an all female military regiment. The Agoj are presented as righteous, empowering liberators to all the marketing thus far, when in reality they were knee deep in Atlantic slave trade. So basically, they're trying to say that they're fighting slavery, but but in reality, they were actually the ones who are selling the slaves. So
okay.
So they're like, and the crazy thing is, I believe the two person that actually like wrote or directed, I'm not sure. Basically, the creators were white men. I mean, not white men, white women. So I'm just like, if you want something that's actually legit, like why like if you want I don't know, diversity and stuff like that, and you want like an all black female cast, like why don't you just go that way? But the record isn't pretty. Dahomey was one of the handful of tribes of 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries that captured and sold off black slaves to Europeans. A means of trade they continued for a good while until Brits actually forced them to stop. Okay, so they were actually continue selling because they were making a lot of money. And we all know that the Britain actually abolished slavery way before the U.S. did, right? So I guess that we got a lot of people who are like cancel this, cancel that, right? In the same world, Woman King, a film apparently lionizing a slave trade, trading imperialist colonial African nation, might be criticized for taking gross liberties and watering down the uncomfortable facts. Instead, it wins praise for love plus a love of freedom plus black culture. Yeah, so it's sort of like the story that you're trying to tell. It's like you're flubbing the actually important thing about this, right? I would say if you actually put that into the movie, I'm not sure how people will take it, but it'll be at least historically correct.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and these are like sort of the woke things that we're seeing, you know, in Hollywood, right? Like the this is like one that's part of the ESG stuff. It's like, well, hey, why aren't you doing this? Why are you doing this? And if so, why are you lying, right? Here's one from Abby Aris on Twitter. The Woman King is a phenomenal film, and it's true that African societies had horrible dealings in the slave trade. However, this whole hashtag feels more like a hit job and some of like some Birth of a Nation mess. So it's just like pretty. I think it's pretty crazy, and we already have Viola Davis coming out and saying that like if you don't support this movie, you hate black females and stuff like that, which is insane. It's crazy that like if you don't watch it, then you don't support us. It's like, are you trying to guilt us into watching this to make this good? Like
the same playbook.
Yeah, it's sort of like it's just so bad. And here's another one right over here. Like here's another article from the New York Post. Viola Davis defends controversial Woman King. You won't win an argument on Twitter. Viola Davis won't hear any slander against her new movie. The star producer of the female epic has responded to critics critics and the recent movement. Users across social media have been calling fans for not to buy a ticket for the film. They believe that the film is historically inaccurate and glorifies the role the African kingdom, the Dahomey, had a slave trade in the 19th century. The Oscar-winning 57-year-old and her husband as producing partner Julius Tennant defended the flick to Variety in a recent interview. I agree with director Gina Prince Bythewood saying you're not going to win an argument on Twitter. We entered a story where the kingdom was in flux at crossroads. Let's see. The How to Get Away with Murder has continued. They were looking to find some way to keep their civilization kingdoms alive until the late 1800s that they were decimated. Most of the story is fictionalized. It has to be so yeah. It's so crazy, right? Don't see, here it is, another one right down here. Davis also discussed the boycott during the Toronto International Film Festival on September 9th. Don't come see it then. You're sending a message. Don't come see it, right? If you want this to be historically correct, don't come see it, right? You're sending a message to the black woman can't lead a box office globally, and you're supporting that narrative. No, we're not. We're not saying that. The thing is that, like, for me, the fact that you said don't come see it makes me don't want to come see it.
Yeah.
Right. It's like you're why are see, here's the things that the investors are pissed off. It's like, don't say that.
Yeah.
It's oh man.
I know I've read subjects and articles like, is 19 million a lot for a box office first week?
19 million? No, it's not. But it really depends on it really depends on the budget, right? So So let's say if the budget of the movie is $10 million, consider the what's it called again? The promotion and the marketing to be double. So that's 20 million. So the only way for that movie to make money is if it's made double how much estimated it costs to make the money. I mean, make the movie. Excuse me. But I would say prior to COVID, 19 million is nothing. It's like it's chump change. Because you're basically paying the movie theaters to play your movies and stuff like that. So that's like distribution fee, and then you have to pay everything else and stuff like that. So, but maybe during COVID times that could be a lot. But let's say if that movie only costs like $1 million to make, then yeah, that would be substantial.
Yeah, I did a Google search. It costed the movie 50 million.
50 million? Okay, so the first box office weekend, I would say let's go box office and we'll just see how much the Woman King right now. So the Woman King domestically made 25 million, worldwide made 25 million. So that means it only made $25 million so far. So it's made half of its money back. So it needs to, in order for it to make all of its money back, it needs to make you said $50 million.
Yeah, it needs to make 100.
It needs to make $100 million total.
Okay.
Yeah. So
That's your week one.
Yeah, that's gonna be really hard. But the thing is that like we you see some movies actually like, you know, it dips and then it sort of like spikes back up. I don't know, because majority of the time like word of mouth is actually really really good. But now that you have like the Boycott the Woman King and stuff like that, if this movie completely like flops in terms of like, oh, it only made, because it came out the 16th, right? So that means it came out last Friday. It's been a week. So that means that this week it needs to, hopefully it gets to 50 million so it could break even, and like break even for production costs, but not even for marketing. And if it does not do well, you know what they're gonna say: racist people not coming to go watch our movie, racist people, bigoted, misogynistic, think that a black woman cast cannot lead a movie. It's like, look, we went to go watch Gal Gadot be Wonder Woman knowing that DC has been sucking the entire time. We watched it anyways, and the first 2/3 of the movie was good. You know, the last act sort of sucked, but you know, and that movie made a lot of money. So yes, it has the backing of it being Wonder Woman, but still, you know, like it's, you're already calling out your fans saying that, you know, don't watch our movie. You know, if you don't believe us, don't watch our movie and stuff like that. And you're just shooting yourself in the foot. And that's why I think a lot of these investors are like, dude, just shut your mouth and just make movies. Can you just make movies? Like, we need money. Unfortunately, yes, it's like, it sucks that like, let's say if you really, really wanted to have a message to be pushed in your movie, and you want, and it just so happens that like it makes you look bad. Yeah, it sucks that you can't say all this stuff. But in terms of like, who actually signs your paychecks, right?
Exactly. So,
yes. Man, it's crazy, dude. It's crazy. So for these movies, like the like that comes out in like the US, like how long does it take for it to get to like the Philippines?
Oh, actually, I have no idea, because by the time I watch it, it's already late. It's already released in other channels.
It's already on streaming.
Yeah, so sometimes it actually depends. If it's a big blockbuster one, like Marvel movies, it usually goes alongside, or I think even first. It releases even first here sometimes. I'm not sure now. I haven't been to a movie theater in the longest time since COVID, so I wouldn't know. But yeah, it's certain movies like that's very oriented towards you guys. It'll take some time before it gets here.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it usually works. But yeah, usually the timeline is not that skewed, not that far away from one another.
Okay. Man, it's just the ESG stuff, which is pretty crazy. You know, like it's yeah, like I 100% agree with you, thinking that like it imagine like if, you know, like if we were both like investors in like Disney or something like that, and all of a sudden like, you know, like I'm just gonna go check the numbers really quick. I'm gonna go check the Little Mermaid.
Go back.
Yeah, I'm going back and check the trailer to see how many dislikes it has. Okay, stop. Okay, so close. It's so close. It's so close to 3 million dislikes.
Wow.
Oh man. Okay, there it is. Okay, can I just bring it there? Okay. But yeah, it's like 3 million dislikes. That's pretty nutty. But man, like if we were investors and stakeholders and we saw this and it's like, you guys got to save it. You guys got to stop all your things, you know, like especially now when it's layoff season in the entertainment industry, right? It's because if you don't know, I'm pretty sure it's not just entertainment. I think it's also other companies too. But usually around fall, right before sort of like the start of quarter four, like the quarter four or like near the middle, they start laying off a bunch of people, right? The reason why is that means that they can sign it off as a loss for tax reasons, so they don't have to pay that much in tax. So
I see.
So let's say if I was like mega billionaire that invests in all these companies, like an investor or something like that. And I see this, and I'm like, I'm gonna take out all my money and I'm gonna put it somewhere else. Like you're basically losing. Like if I'm that person, 11% is fucking massive, right?
Yeah.
So if you lose out on 11% of your income, like, where are you gonna cut your losses, right? Like you already have She-Hulk that's not looking great in terms of like the 3D department. It's because Disney worked them so hard, and it's like and the fact that you get something that's like subpar, it's just, oh man, it's not good. It's not
Yeah.
good. All right, what?
I
But yeah,
the
go ahead.
same could be in a smaller scale. It's the
Mhm.
same thing with G4 TV.
Yes.
Right? It's exactly the same thing. Like they could have they could have made it back, honestly, if it wasn't for the Frost incident, and if it wasn't for G4 TV backing up what she said. I would think they
Mhm.
would still be alive and kicking right now. If they just followed the formula, like they got a replacement for Olivia Munn and Morgan Webb. They just followed that formula. They would still be fine up to now. But yeah, lo and behold, because of the politics, yeah, investors are
Yeah.
losing money. No, I'm not putting money on this anymore. Okay,
And and the thing is that it's just like the reason why she sort of went on that rant was because I believe like a week prior to that rant, she was talking about she
yeah,
basically
she had
said
hot takes.
she had like a hot take and a really bad one at that, saying that like the PS5 is like dead on arrival, which is like, what? The PS5 is like, it's still sought after to this day,
Yeah,
right? People are still
yeah,
wondering when they can get a PS5. Why?
yeah.
And you could probably get, it's probably way easier for you to get an Xbox Series X
Mhm.
than a
For
PS5.
sure,
And
for
and
sure.
then people are just saying that she doesn't know what she's talking about, and she probably read so much into the comments, and then she's like, oh, sexism in
Sexism in
gaming.
gaming.
I'm like, those three words completely ruined it. And then you have Adam Sessler is like, tell him Frost. But hey, she's gone. G4 is probably gonna go. Who do you have? The most recent guy that's leaving too.
Yeah,
Like,
I forgot his name too.
yeah, Pereira something. I forgot his last name.
Yeah,
But like he's gone too. I like him. Like he was interesting. He was an Attack of the Show with Olivia Munn. I like him. I liked what's it called again? Adam Sessler. He's probably still there, but like he has so much pull, just like for who he is. Whether or not
yeah.
you like his
I
politics, he's really good at what he does. He's entertaining.
Yeah, he is. He is. I remember. I'm not a huge G4 TV fan back then. Back when I was in high school, but I know Adam Sessler. I used to watch his videos.
Mm-hmm.
Just that I think it's really more of a mental issue for him. It's because of his tweets regarding he wants his family members to die. It's more of a mental issue thing rather than
Yeah.
him as a whole compared to
Yeah.
Frost.
We have the saying that the people who are like extremely hates Trump and scared that he might be coming back, we call it TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. That's
Okay.
a lot of people who are very scared, and that the wants like terrible like things to happen to people who are on the opposite side of you politically to die. Like it's just like,
Yeah.
what happened to tolerance, right? Well,
Yeah.
like for the side that like for me, I'm politically homeless. Like
Same.
I'm not left or right. I'm not conservative or liberal. I'm like, if I have to choose a political party, I consider it libertarian, meaning that little government, leave me the hell alone. Right? That's me. And like for me, from the side that's saying that like we have to be more tolerant of people. We have to accept people for who they are. We gotta we gotta we want to be diverse. And when you say we want to be diverse, we want to be inclusive, and we want equity. Okay. The first two, I'm equity. I'm not sure about that, but diversity and inclusion. Inclusion means everyone. Diversity means everything and everyone, including diverse of thought. So if you're not about that, then you shouldn't say all of that, right? So it's just for me, I think we should just live and let live. Stop everyone is just so awful to one another online, especially on Twitter. I hate going on Twitter.
Yeah.
Right? Like everyone's just so angry all the time. And I miss it when like we will come together and like talk about like video games or TV
Uh-huh.
shows and stuff like that. And it just I think the last time we had something like that was probably like in terms of like politically, unfortunately, was 9/11. You know, like for the US, like the only time where both sides came together to hate one group, which fucking sucks too, was 9/11, which makes me very sad. And then you have and then it's just like, oh, you know, and then when Barack Obama became president, I felt like everything was getting better, you know, like but it's just I think it's just it was like it just felt like a downhill spiral. For me, I felt that things got fucking weird when Harambe got killed. I think when Harambe died, that's when everything sort of became crazy. But yeah, man, I'm glad that you're you don't have to deal with what I'm dealing with here, but I know you are feeling the sort of ripple effects maybe in your area in terms of entertainment, right? And it's sort of like, and that's the reason why I think a lot of people are upset. Entertainment for one major thing is escapism, right?
Yes. Yes.
Whatever you are dealing with your life, whatever's happening in your life, you want to get away from it. So you want to play video games and you just want to turn your brain off and not have to worry about anything, right? And that's why like during COVID, you know, streaming, playing video games was huge for everyone. Is because you know people don't want to think about you know all the crazy things happening around the world. But when you're injecting your politics and you know your wokeness into the stuff that we believe in, that we love, that's when it's sort of like people sort of you know revolt and fight back against it, right? But I believe that if you can see through all of that and sort of just take it for face value and just like you know what, try not to let things bother you.
Yeah.
You know, like with the whole thing with like the Last of Us 2, like what you said. And for me, I try to listen to what people who are not biased. They said that the game is great, right?
Yeah. It is. It is.
Other than what happened with Joel, the game is great,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm almost at the end. I'm gonna yeah, spoiler alert. That's probably what I'm gonna end up saying in the review.
Mhm. But yeah, it's like for me, I think in my opinion, how I would have wrote it in was I would probably have Joel, what happened to him, happen maybe 3/4 into the game.
Yes,
Not that
yes.
early.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I was I was gonna say that too. Because
Right.
like how they did it was like yeah, so the thing happened with Joel. So like you play first as Ellie. So you're gonna go through Ellie going about with her vengeance, going after them one by one. Then along the way, there's gonna be a series of flashbacks with her and Joel. So it's like it's throwback on memory lane, like what she did with Joel, how they bonded. Then the second half, it's Abby. It's the you play as the murderer of Joel.
Mhm.
Then she also she's doing her tasks, doing her stuff, doing her because that's spoiler territory. She's also doing her thing while Ellie's actually gunning down her friends one by one without her knowing. Uh, there's also this recollection with her and her friends. So it's like that might have been a lot more effective if they left their underlying motive a mystery first. Allow the
Yes.
players to get to love like her and her crew first before finally culminating to actually killing Joel. That it would have been so much better if they did that rather than trying
Yeah.
to subvert their expectations really early on. It would have been
Yeah.
much better received, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. Like for me, it would have been great if it was like, wait, what? Like it's like holy shit! Like I fall in love with this group and this character, and man, she's going through a lot of stuff herself, and then like later on, and then it happens later. I think that would be a lot better. I think it's just the timing of when they put that Joel's death scene. It was too early. I
Yeah.
like it's sort of like Terminator Dark Fate. Like I tried watching that movie, man. Like I watched like 15 minutes. I turn it off. But the fact that you killed off John Connor in the first 5 minutes of the movie, it's actually 2 minutes and like 30 seconds in, like he dies. And like, so you're saying the past 5 movies, or maybe even the couple movies that we considered canon, is basically for nothing. You literally killed off the character that's supposed to save everyone at the beginning. Like, why couldn't you have killed him off later, right? Like, if the leader of the resistance for, you know, to fight against Skynet was supposed to be a symbol instead of an actual person, why didn't you sort of illustrate that out? Why couldn't you just say that, like and just have it play out, and then have maybe John Connor die like 3/4 into the movie, and at the same time transfer his leadership of the resistance to a female, and then that female is going to be like that. It's because, you know, it's a symbolic position. So why didn't you do that? But no, it's just like, you know what, we're just gonna fuck with the original canon. We're gonna kill him off, and then if you don't want to come see the movie, then then don't watch the movie. It's not for you. I'm like, all right, we're not gonna watch the movie. You know what happened? Tim Miller basically came out and said he knew what he did wrong, and he apologizes for what he did. He actually said sorry that he screwed up.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, there you go. Like, oh man. But all right. To leave up on a happy note, I found this thing. I'm not sure if it's true.
Okay.
Chris, this is breaking on Twitter. The first audio of Chris Pratt voicing Mario in the Super Mario Brothers movie has been released. The film hits theaters in April 2023. I'm not sure if this is true, but let's actually listen to this really quick. All right. So let me actually share my screen so you can see what the hell I'm looking at. Okay, so you see this? All right, here we go.
Let's go.
Hey, where's the freaking gabagoo? You motherfucker. You motherfucker, huh? Let me get the... Hey, I'm walking here.
We'll play it again.
Hey, they better keep this. They better keep this.
You motherfucker. You motherfucker, huh? Let me get the... Hey, I'm walking here.
Oh my god. Oh my god, that's the best thing ever. Yeah.
They should leave that.
Oh my god.
Don't change it anymore.
No, it's perfect. That sounds exactly like Mario. But man, yo, it's good to catch up with you, man. It's
yeah,
it was fun. We're can't wait to actually go to do tomorrow's live stream for sure. We will definitely talk more. I need to watch oh god, Rings of Power.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. But cool. Thank you so much for stopping by, everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Thank you guys. Stream.
So what's it called again? Do you want to give a shout out on stuff that you know, where people can find you and stuff like that, and when you're gonna get your YouTube up?
Yeah, it's okay. So you can follow me on twitch.tv/Graeblade. See, I haven't been streaming for a while because I have been waiting for Valkyrie Elysium that comes out this coming Thursday, September 29th. So once I finish that game, I'm gonna review that game in full, beginning till end. Then I'll start promoting my YouTube channel because my YouTube channel is literally empty right now. Then I'm also gunning to finish The Last of Us Part 2 review. I'm hopefully I finish the game today. Then I'll start doing the review today, tomorrow, and Monday, and onwards until it's done. Then I'll give it to you to upload here in Project Eggroll. Then so follow me on twitch.tv/Graeblade. I'll start streaming again on 29th, which is when Valkyrie Elysium comes out. And yeah, stay tuned for The Last of Us Part 2 review because it's in the works. And yeah, I'll be uploading that on Project Eggroll.
Cool. I'll go ahead and do my review too. I still need to do mine. I'll probably do it sometime this week. Hopefully I can get it up. But yeah, you can follow me on youtube.com / Mr. Phillip Chan and twitch.tv forward slash Mr. Phillip Chan. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's Philly Chan, PhilliECHAN. And thank you guys so much once again for hanging out with us. We will be back tomorrow at the same time, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we're going to be talking about Rings of Power episode 5 and House of the Dragon episode 5, and we'll see where that leads us. All right, thank you guys so much. Take care, and we'll see you guys in the next one.